Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7:30 p.m. on the East Coast. Yep, I ran a little bit late today. I was out doing a bunch of crazy stuff and just very busy. That's what I will say. So many things I'm trying to achieve. I've taken on far too many tasks and things. I should probably stop, but I'm stupid. So I keep doing stuff that I probably should stop doing. And I keep taking on larger projects, which I should stop doing, but I just keep doing because I'm crazy. But that's okay. I am what I am, and that's how it works. I sound like Popeye now. But anyway, I'm happy that you are here with me this evening. So happy that you're with me this evening. And there were many things I thought of, and I had a bunch of people send me things that I considered jumping on today. But I was on the subway today. And when I was on the subway, I noticed something. I noticed on the subway cars, Pride hearts in the rainbow for Pride Month. And I thought, oh, that's kind of nice. New York City doing that. New York City tends to be very pro-Pride, pro-gay, pro-LGBT, very much so. Tends to be very much in that world. I thought, oh, that's kind of nice. And then I recognized how so many other companies and groups are not being like jumping up and down about it, chatting about it, any of those things. They've kind of ignored it in a way. And I thought, okay, that seems kind of interesting. I thought, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Should I care either way? And I've had an issue that I've had to deal with here. And that is, I remember when I ran for governor in 2018, I didn't really talk about gay issues much at all. And as I crossed the country, people would bring it up here or there. And it was hard for me to kind of fathom why. When I went upstate, even people bring it up, hard for me to fathom why. And of course, if you don't live in a place like New York City and you're part of the GSM, which is the gender and sexual minorities community, if you're part of the GSM community, you probably have issues. But in New York City, you don't. And that's the issue, right? In New York City, this is a done deal. Like, it's nobody cares, totally fine, whatever. Whatever you're thinking is kinky or different or whatever you might think, it's not here. And whatever you might think, someone's going to be mad at me because I'm gay or trans, nobody cares. It's not a thing in New York City. Now, I had to realize that's not true everywhere. But I live in New York City. So to me, it's like, are we fighting this battle anymore? Again, in certain areas, we are. However, my question was, is this a good or a bad thing? Because I didn't like how so many companies all of a sudden jumped on Pride Month. Like, this month, we love you, right? But all the rest of the months, we don't care. And I always thought it was fake. And I thought to myself, if I was a member of the GSM community, that I would immediately be like, oh, you whatever, Nike or whatever, you don't actually care about me. You're just trying to get me to spend money on this month because you're going to pretend. That's how I always felt. And I feel kind of like this kind of showed that, if that makes any sense. I feel like this showed that there are certain groups that actually do care and it matters to them and they want to support, and many who just didn't care at all. They were like, is this going to get us in trouble? Can we get around this? It was just like that. And I think the people in the New York City Transit Authority, they probably actually do care because of New York City. So they put the Pride stuff up because they actually care, right? But I feel like some other companies, they didn't care. But this also made some other things, which is a backlash, which was federal funds going to things that are seen as pride. That part is something that people get upset too, right? That concept. And there's been a backlash against that. And I get it. And I wanted to bring up a piece. This is from The Hill Rising. And if I could bring this piece up, they're talking about this concept. And there's some interesting concepts here, right? Ideas that I think are kind of interesting. Let me pop this up if I may. Make sure I'm sharing the audio too, because I sometimes forget to share the audio. That does happen. All right, audio's there. We should be good. And here we go.
Charlie Kirk and other conservatives are slamming PBS for celebrating Pride Month.
It all started with a social media post from Sesame Street. Take a look. The official Sesame Street account posting this illustration saying, quote, "On our street, everyone is welcome. Together, let's build a world where every person and family feels loved and respected for who they are. Happy Pride Month."
Now, Am I bothered that Sesame Street does this? Not at all. I don't care. Either way, good. Good. Awesome. I get the issue. The issue is they are being federally funded. I do understand that concept. But I feel like, and it's just my personal opinion on this one, I agree that federal shouldn't, but is this a hill you want to die on? You've got like Bud Light not doing it anymore. You've got all these other companies saying, you know what, we're going to back off. It's Sesame Street. Is this a hill you want to die on? That's all I'm saying, right?
Conservative podcaster Michael Knowles was having none of that. He responded with, quote, nothing to see here, just a publicly funded puppet show promoting weird sex stuff to your 3-year-old.
See, and that bothers me too, because that's not really what they're doing. But of course, he wants clicks and he wants to do this. And his goal is to push it all out of existence. And I think that's a little bit too far.
Charlie Kirk fired his own shot, saying, we must defund PBS and NPR immediately. No excuses, GOP.
I'm not mad at that, though. See, Knowles is purposely insulting people who are gay or part of the GSM community. Charlie Kirk is at least, I mean, I'm sure Charlie feels the same way, but he's not saying it at least. He's coming out and saying, hey, it's a money thing. All right, money thing, I'll buy it.
In response, many took to Blue Sky and X to defend the show and thank them, posting messages like, quote, good on Sesame Street, and quote, I love that Sesame Street stays unbothered and continue to be awesome. So far, there's been no response from the backlash from Sesame Street or PBS.
Which is the right move. To be forward, PBS, if any of you happen to be watching, say nothing. Do you and say nothing. Do not get involved in this. It's not the right move.
So we'll just see what happens there. This conversation is such a manufactured culture war. Recognizing pride is not grooming. Sesame Street has always been a place that...
All right, nobody said grooming but her. So she said that, not me. Just saying, she said that. But let me touch the piece that I think is important here. She's right and she's wrong. Here is where she's right. It is manufactured culture war. True. But to be forward and to support the conservatives in this one, they didn't start this fight. They didn't start this fight. This fight, the GSM community was winning for decades. And if you're part of that community, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Winning for decades, getting better, getting small wins here, getting better in every way. Not perfect. I'm not saying that. There's still like places like in rural Oklahoma where gay people get like killed. Still happens. I'm not saying perfection. What I'm saying, though, is if you're a part of that community, you have watched it over the course from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s to the 90s get better and better and better and better. And then 2015 hit. And then you better accept me for everything and let me and everything, and I have a right for everything. That was the manufactured piece. And when that happened, people started fighting back. And then now she's right. Here's about what she's right. Now conservatives are hitting back hard. Conservatives. Trump came up and said, like, woke is over. Okay, conservatives, you won. Stop punching. You won. You can stop punching now, right? You got your boy in, and he said it's over, and now the people aren't doing it anymore, right? They're not putting flags and everything. You won. Leave Sesame Street alone. I get the taxpayer argument. I do. But I'm saying if you're a conservative, you've won. You can stop punching. Because now people like her, again, she started the war. But then she lost the war. And now you've won. Be magnanimous in your victory. That's all I'm saying.
Discusses inclusion. It's also not sex. Discussing that people date each other is not sex. And so...
Well, it kind of is, but that's fine.
Empathy, acceptance, and people shaking hands.
Okay. Empathy, acceptance, right? That's the issue. The issue is, the reason why this went too far, and some of you will not like to hear this, particularly if you're part of the GSM community, but I'm going to be very forward with you. What America has to do for any minority in any way, shape, or form is just tolerate them. You exist, you do your thing, you're around, you do you. That's all Americans have to do. And if they're doing that, we're fine. Commit no harm, do not impede them. Whatever minority you're thinking of, you pick the minority, leave them alone, do not impede them, tolerate them in whatever way, even if you don't like them religiously, don't like them because you're a racist, whatever the reason is, your job as an American is to leave them alone and tolerate them and do not impede them or harm them in any way in living their life. That's it. You do that, we're good. Around 2015-ish, in that area, I'm using that number as a roundabout number, all of a sudden, that wasn't good enough. And it starts back with the guy who I blame so much of this on, Ibram X. Kendi, that horrible human being, worthy of scorn, who literally was like, it's not enough for you to not be racist. That's not enough. That literally is enough. But he said that, no, you have to be anti-racist. So it's not enough now for you to tolerate people who you may feel are wrong or bad or immoral, whatever you may think. Again, I don't feel any of this. I don't at all. But I recognize people do and have a right to feel that way on top of it. They have a right to feel like you are immoral for whatever you are doing, whether that's doing drugs, whether that's, cheating on your wife, whatever, whether that's being part of the GSM community, whatever. They have a right to not like it or to think you're immoral. They have a right to do that if they want to. They don't have a right to impede you, stop you, harm you, anything like that. They can say you're immoral, whatever. It's up to them, right? Whatever that case is. But now it wasn't enough to tolerate. Now you had to accept. Now you had to bring them in. If you didn't bring them in, if you didn't openly embrace them with open arms, now you were evil. That was a step too far. And she was 100% on board with all of that. All of it. She was 100% on board. Now she's backed off. Smart move on her point. Back off. You've lost the war. America's like, stop scolding me. That was the entire election last year. Stop scolding me. I don't have to accept everything you say. I have to tolerate it. I don't have to accept everything. To be forward, I do. That's just me personally. But I don't require you to. You don't have to. It's okay if you don't. You can think what I do is immoral. It's okay. You just can't impede me, stop me, harm me, whatever. So she should.
It's colorful hands shaking on a post.
She's winning now.
And that's what they're getting riled up about. There's so many things to actually rile people up in this world.
Don't you
no, that's
other things me.
No, this like
defund it. I would defund
I told you yes.
See, he has to fall back to the dollars and cents, which is right. He is correct. Michael Knowles didn't. Michael Knowles was like, and they're evil when they're sick. That's not going to work.
That, just like I said, I don't like that in both sides of the aisle, we overuse this term, calling people a Nazi or anything dramatic like that. I don't like overusing the term grooming for something like a Sesame Street post, because that actually happens to real children. It's actually a dangerous thing, and this is not what's happening here. So everything doesn't have to be the most extreme example just because you don't live the lifestyle. Okay, so then you don't be a gay person. You don't be in the LGBTQ community. How does it affect you?
But why?
Yes, and everybody was saying that around 2010. But then there was a big chunk of the left that went, no. That's not good enough. And that's my problem. The pendulum swung so far to, you must embrace us and accept us and love us in every way, shape, or form. We have to be in we have to be in your house, we're doing your bathrooms, remember all that stuff, all those things. And to be forward, in New York City, trans people used whatever bathroom and nobody cared. If you live in a city like New York, maybe Seattle may be similar. I'm not sure. I know New York City. I assume other cities are similar. Nobody cared. Literally, if a trans woman went to a woman's bathroom, nobody said a thing. If she didn't, if she came to the men's bathroom, lifted up her skirt, and pulled out her, and nobody was like, oh, well, whatever. No, like nobody cared. It wasn't a thing. It's when it was forced that we had a backlash. There wasn't a law in New York City that you could or couldn't use any bathroom. But I mean, you'd have to stretch in New York City to find someone suing somebody for using the wrong bathroom. I can't remember any. Is there possibly a lawsuit somewhere? Maybe. I don't remember one. And I've been in the city for decades. Except when I was away in the Marine Corps, I've been in this city. Not a thing. And people use different bathrooms, whatever. Again, you might say, hey, I present female, so I'm going to go to a female bathroom, or I present female, but I'm going to go to a male bathroom anyway and pull out my junk and do it there in the urinal. Nobody cared. But once it was forced, now this is the return pendulum. That was the issue. You force people, you scold them, and they can't stand it.
Allow PBS to explain
that. They have to pay for it. Because they have to pay for it, Lindsay. I agree with you, except taxpayers are being asked to pay for it. They don't want to pay, conservative people, people who have the biblical definition of marriage, believe in that, don't want to have to pay for advocacy, political advocacy that doesn't align with that.
But inclusion is for all American families.
Okay, you would.
See, this is where she failed. She was doing so good, but she couldn't help it because she was part of that bullshit before. It's for all American families. No, it isn't. Inclusion is not for all American families. She is wrong, but she's righteous. You're wrong. Do as I say. If you don't believe that, you're evil. And that's simply not true. To be clear, I want to be very clear on this. The vast majority of Americans don't care either way. And I mean the vast majority, just don't care. You do you. They don't care at all. Race, creed, color, religion, the vast, they don't care. They want to live their life. They're trying to pay their rent. They want to pay their credit card bill. They don't care who you're sleeping with or what color you're skin. They don't care. If the guy who gives them the job is gay, straight, black, white, they don't care. It's not a thing. She's making it so, no, it's for everybody. She couldn't help but telling herself. A self-report again. She tells herself.
And you would easily recognize this if the message of Sesame Street, let's say Sesame Street was...
See, he didn't jump on that part. He didn't see it because he's so worried about the cash part.
...run by religious conservatives, and the message they were putting out on Pride Month or week was marriage is between one man and a woman, and same-sexual behavior...
Or worse, one man and multiple women.
...is degenerate and wrong. Let's say that was the message. Would you, a liberal person, want to have your tax dollars going to fund that message?
No,
of course
that's
not.
not the same thing.
It's the exact same thing.
Seeing,
it's the exact
no.
See, in her eyes, it's not the same thing. Why? Well, because you're evil and wrong, Robbie. Duh. You don't think the way I think. Clearly, you're evil and wrong. Duh.
Robbie, it's like, shake my hand. It's like seeing a white and a black man on a screen, right? Okay. That means that back in the day, that was not appropriate to see, right? Mm-hmm. We could not shake hands, and that's appropriate. There were laws actually against us being in this.
Yes, 50 years ago. True. Not even. Now 60 years ago. So, God, I'm old. Yes, 60 years ago. She's right. 60 years ago. The first black-white kiss was on Star Trek in 1967. 66, I forgot which one. I think 67. Yeah. So they were kissing people in space, black and white, in 1967. So yeah, so that's about 60 years ago, give or take. So yeah. 60 years ago, you're right. Now, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Black and white people can shake hands all they want. They don't care. And here's the issue. Should you be okay shaking the hand of someone of different race? Of course. Of course you should. Is it legal? Is it required? No. As backward as I would think you are, and I would probably tell you, if you're like, I'm not shaking a hand, that person is not my race. That to me is backward thinking. But you can have that way of thinking if you want to. You can. That's the whole idea of freedom of speech. You don't have to do that. It's not required.
Same spaces and same room. So if Sesame Street would have posted that at a time when that was the law of the land, then we would have said, wow, forward thinking.
Sesame Street did that. Sesame Street had mixed race when it came to physical color, like yellow and blue. It had that in the 60s. It did have that, and it was forward thinking. And it had people of color in Sesame Street in lead roles. It did have that. It did.
Sesame Street, because one day you're going to be on the right side of history. That is what Sesame Street is doing.
I would have said don't fund PBS.
No, that's actual real life. That's actual real life. Like,
it's real life. You're wrong. They should fund it. The government should fund what I think is correct.
Inclusion is a part of our life. This is like manufactured. People actually live and go to school with people who like the same sex. That's going to be a part of your life. There's no way you can.
She's correct. There's no way you can avoid it. It's not required. One more time. There's a difference between tolerance and forced acceptance. And the reality of it is, why were people, when I'm going to cover a piece here in a second that covers this piece, why was the GSM community winning? Why was it winning constantly? It was winning for several ways. People were coming out who didn't come out in the past and were showing the world that they're just human beings like everybody else. It's a thing you see all the time, right? Why did someone all of a sudden start to, respect gay people? Because they found out somebody they respected was gay. And that may seem terrible, but that's how it actually works, right? Oh my God, I saw this guy and he's gay. I love that guy. Wow. Okay. Maybe gay people aren't bad. I thought they were evil, but they're not. My son, my daughter, gay. Wow. I thought they were evil. It's my son and my daughter. I love them. Oh my God. That was happening all over. natural integration was happening naturally. And people were like, oh, gay people, they're like everybody else. Okay, no big deal. It is what it is. No worries. Right? That's what was happening. Black people, once the laws went away, black people started to integrate. Oh, I thought all black people were bad. Now I met a guy I respect and I work with. I don't think it's so bad anymore. It's that simple. That may sound simple because it is. Because it is. I had trans people on both my campaign teams in 2018 and 2022. Didn't care. I didn't check a box. I didn't care. I grabbed people to come and they came. So good. I didn't care. Anybody I grabbed was consensual. Anyway, my view.
Avoid it. There's no way as a parent you can protect your kid from seeing that in the real world. This is a whole entire world.
It doesn't mean you see, she thinks because it's here, I can force it. And this is where she's losing. But she was winning in concept. I'm going to go back to him and say it again. I don't think that fighting on the Sesame Street thing is a good idea. If you're conservative, I think you walk away from this. Unless you just want clicks. You just want clicks, put your clicks on. But it's not worth the fight. Or just fight the way Robbie's fighting. Just go, hey, defund it, do what you want. I could buy either one of those. Let me grab a couple of comments before I go to the next one. I got a couple I do want to grab here. So Rick says, I have nothing to be proud of. Well, yeah. Kim says, folks should have the right to express the lifestyle they choose. True. I don't see why it must them with celebration, so to speak, and broadcast a choice so publicly. I like the old don't ask, don't tell. I never liked don't ask, don't tell, Kim. I didn't, because it gave people the ability to blackmail people, right? And that's what wound up happening. I saw it in the Marine Corps, because we had don't ask, don't tell when I was in the Marine Corps. Nobody in the Marine Corps that I knew served openly as gay. Of course, there were gay people in the Marine Corps, but no one served openly because don't ask, don't tell. So that was an issue. But my point is, I don't mind if they have celebrations, right? If you want to have a parade or you want to celebrate your religion, you want to celebrate your, right? We have it here in where I live in Astoria, large Greek community. And usually during Easter, there's big parades. They close the streets down. All the people come out in midnight. I go out too during midnight mass. That's great, right? But you know who's paying for that? The Greek community, right? We give to the church. I'm a member of the church, so I pay my yearly fee, which is how it works here. So, right, you pay your fee. And they're not forcing me. I voluntarily pay it, right? Because I'm a member of the Greek Orthodox Church. So I pay my fee. So do other families throughout the entire area. A lot of people actually, those you don't know, a lot of Greeks have left the community. They've moved out of Astoria. But they still pay this for the church, and they come in for holidays and celebrations. It's a common thing, right? They'll come in from Whitestone or come in from some other place where they are, Connecticut, whatever. They'll come in. And for that celebration here. Astoria, it happens to be it has the only Greek Orthodox high school in the entire country. It's in Astoria. That's how strong the Greek community is here. So you'll see it. And I don't have a problem with that. And if I wasn't part of the church, I wouldn't be mad at them. I'd be like, okay, good, Greeks, do your thing. Right? It's fine. Right? Do your thing. I wouldn't care either way. But I like people being able to do so. But again, you do you. If I don't want to hear it, I don't have to be part of it. And most people who aren't Greek in this area ignore it because they don't care. And that's the issue. So yeah, I would like to be out there no matter what. So yeah. All righty. I'm going to grab a couple more here. P says, I guess I should have a lot to say on this topic since I'm gay. For one, it used to be gay pride. Something that gay pride was hijacked no longer has the same meaning and representation. You know what? Yes, Peace. And that part, this is a personal issue for me. The two flags, you got the flag, there's a rainbow flag, and then there's like that, I guess, trans flag, whatever that new thing, the other flag with all funky colors in it, right? I have always liked the rainbow flag. Always. When it first came out, I always liked it because I felt like, and this is just my personal feelings, some of you may disagree, I felt like the flag was all inclusive. It was the rainbow. We're all included, right? So I'm part of that, right? Like everyone is part of it. We're all the rainbow. We're all together. Gay people and straight people, we're all together. It's all humanity. I love that. I had a shirt. I think I still have one. Rainbow shirt that we used to wear when I used to go to Pride. I've worked the booth as libertarians and the Pride Parade. Loved it. That was great. When they brought the other flag out, I didn't like it. And I still don't like it. And you might go, Larry, you're big, whatever. I'm not a bigot, but who cares? But if you think I am, I don't give a shit. But my point is, I never liked that flag. Why didn't I like that flag? Because that flag was like, well, this represents this, and this represents that, and this represents this, and this represents that. And I was like, oh, So we're not together. We're all divided. And I'm not even in this thing. I don't like that flag. That flag says we're all different and divided. That flag says I'm not welcome. I always felt like the rainbow flag said I'm here too. Like everyone, I'm a straight guy, but it's fine. You could be with us. We're all together. That's how I always felt. Now, some people obviously see it differently. That's how I see it. I can't stand that new flag. I would never fly that damn thing ever. I would never wear a shirt with it on. I can't stand it. It is in my view, divisive, horrible. The meaning is bad. It looks like garbage. I'd rainbow it all day long. I like the rainbow flag. I think it's much more inclusive. I wish you'd go back to it. I like the idea of everything being inclusive versus this horrible thing of this is for the bi and for the blah, blah, blah. I can't stand the LGBTQ plus garbage. That's all stupidity. Terrible. Terrible. I'll give you LGBT or I'll give you GSM. That's it. I'm not doing the plus. That's all stupidity. That is all just more divisiveness. And this is why it's falling. And again, you're talking to someone who openly supports the GSM community. Openly. I've signed more than one Gadsden flag. What is the Gadsden flag? It's the Gadsden flag with the rainbow on it. Called not the Gadsden flag, but the Gadsden flag. I don't mind at all. I've literally been there's pictures of me and my kids at pride parades. So supporting the Libertarian Party, running working the booth. I'm totally in. Not with this, because this is divisive. The 2015 shift of you must accept is divisive. The 2015 of and trans is more important than gay, which is what happened. This is why you feel this way, Peace. In 2015, all of a sudden, trans became more important than gay. Not equal to, not as important as, more important. That's what happened. I think that's why you feel the way you feel, because that's what happened. It all of a sudden, trans became the most important. There's a joke from Family Guy where, for those of you know the story, Quagmire one of the characters there, his father is trans. And his father goes to a trans woman. So she's in the bar and she's smoking. And the bartender says, "You can't smoke in here." And his father says, "I'm trans." And he goes, "Do what you want." That's a joke, but they became more important. And I'm like, no, you're not more important. And if you're trans, you hear this, you're mad, too bad. You're not more important. You are the same as all of us. We're all the same. You're the same, not better. You might think you are, but you're not. You're same as us. We're all the same, all good. Okay, I think I'm done preaching. I wanted to preach for a little bit. That's your fault, Peace. You got me being all preachy. I'm going to blame you because I can't blame people. So, yes. All right, let me keep going down here if I can. All righty, Mike Voss is in the house. He says, "Evening. Backlash has been happening for a while. True. It's against the political organizations and they're shoving agenda down throats as mandatory, not individuals. So that's good. Yes, but. I'm going to give a yes, but on this one. Yes, it has been against political organizations, but it has wound up punishing some individuals, right? Who've been stuck in this or jumped on the wrong, side, whatever the case may be. I think that's an issue. It has wound up affecting some individuals, which does bother me because the average trans person, the average gay person, again, doesn't care, just wants to live their life. But they were kind of told from your point earlier that, well, join these organizations. You're better, you're important, you're super oppressed, fight back the power, everybody's bad, scold people. And then they wound up putting themselves in a spot where now they're in trouble. So it wound up hurting them. So yes. Daniel, thank you for the $10, my friend. At this point in the zeitgeist, we're all beyond pride's shock factor. Very true. Yes. When someone outs himself as LGBTQ+, everyone else is like, okay. Oh, you come to tonight's PTA meeting? Yes. You're not wrong. We're like, okay, great. But okay, can I pay my rent? Right. Whatever. Or people who are yelling, I'm not a man or woman, I'm non-binary or whatever. Okay, great. Dude, put the fries in the bag, man. That's all. I don't care. Right? What are you doing? Put the fries in the bag. I don't care. Don't call me Zer. Dude, it's a Wendy's. Okay? It's a Wendy's. I don't care. $14.50, please. That's all I care about, right? I'm with you completely. And I think we have to accept that. And here's the problem, though. We have rewarded victims for so long that if you're not a victim. Now, again, I'm talking to someone who supports the community in many ways. I do. There are two things that I know are examples of, is that what Daniel's talking about? You now have people who simply can't find a relationship and then call themselves non-binary or queer. I don't mean to be cruel, guys. I'm just being forward. Non-binary and queer are not a thing. The other things are. You can be lesbian, gay, whatever, trans. Those are all things. Non-binary, that's not a thing. That's something someone made up to feel like, I'm special, I'm a victim. It's not a thing. Queer, not a thing. People say that, but it's not a thing. Now, don't get me wrong. If someone calls themselves queer, I'll say, great, you identify as queer. Okay, fine, I'll call you that if you want to, but I know it's not real. Non-binary, I'll call you that if you want to. I'm not going to fight you because I think you get to say and feel how you want to feel. Again, I'm libertarian. No worries, but I know it's nothing. It's not true. I know it isn't, but it's fine. Makes you feel good. Call yourself what you want. But those two things are not things. And if you see people like putting their non-binary, oh, you haven't found a boyfriend or girlfriend yet. Once you find the one you like, yeah, you ain't non-binary anymore. That's how that works. I'm queer until you find your boyfriend or girlfriend, then you're not queer anymore. That's how that works. Strange how I've seen it happen. I can probably name like 7 times it's actually happened that I've seen personally. I can imagine how many thousand times happened. I'm non-binary. Then I find a boyfriend. Oh, no, I'm straight. I'm non-binary. I find a girlfriend. Oh, no, I'm just gay. Okay, you're just gay, right? Yeah, okay, you're not non-binary. You're a woman who likes women. Yes, okay, that's called lesbian. It's fine. You're still a woman, though. It's fine. Anyway, peace, $2. Thank you. Okay, Larry, you're A+ approved. I won. Peace has approved me. I have won. All right, let me go now, if I could, to the, I want to go, if I could, to the financial aspect of this. And this is an important piece. And I think this actually may, in the long run, short run, this is going to hurt. Long run, I think it may actually be very good in the long run. Short run, it's going to be a little bit painful.
The pleasure of Pride pushed aside this year by many companies, with corporate sponsors signaling reserve. Pride organizers dismayed.
The corporate model no longer is sustainable in the political climate that we live in today.
The corporate model, what does that mean? There were a whole lot of grifters, and they can't grift anymore, and they are not happy. Now, is that going to make some Pride parades suffer this year? Yes, and that's a shame. I would like them to have great Pride parades, whatever, enjoy, right? Please, that'd be wonderful. But it's going to hurt this year. But the advantage, and I think in the long run, this is an advantage, because in the long run, you're going to find there are certain organizations that are actually behind this, that actually care. And you will find out who's really supporting you and who's just pandering to you. Now, for the actual people in the GSM community, you don't want panderers. You want people who actually care about you and your issues. Makes total sense. Every group should think that. But for the grifters, you just want the money. You don't care. You just want cash. You don't get there to love you, hate you. You got a check? Good. And that's going away.
That's in St. Louis, seeing major changes this year. While in New York, NYC Pride saying it's dealing with a budget shortfall of more than $750,000.
Now, if just those dudes who started, if they just get 20% of that, that's it, 20%. Is that 50 grand gone? Hold on, is that right? No, 20% of that will be 150 grand. Is that right? 150 grand gone. 150 grand gone. If that's their cut. If their cut's 20%, that's 150 grand. You know they're not happy. You know they're not happy. They're like, this sucks. We were going to grift for years. Not no more.
Due to dips in corporate sponsorships. A new survey of more than 200 executives by a risk management research firm shows nearly 40% plan to pull back on how they engage with Pride this year.
Yes. Why? Now, they're going to, of course, do what they always do with MSNBC. They're going to blame Trump. Of course, right? Because it's always Trump's fault. But I would argue it's not Trump's fault. I would argue our society has shifted. Daniel brought it up earlier. Our society is shifting. If you actually support the community, please give. You support it. Good on you. If you don't. You're not required to. No one's required to. Rhetoric, how are you, sir? Becoming a member for 3 months. I appreciate it. Identity politics will never fill the void. A lack of merit, compassion, and gratitude will leave. You know, this piece is the second piece that's really happening here, which I think also is going to be great. Because I remember this, I told the story before, but I remember this. I was consulting for a company in Utah years ago, probably 10 years ago, maybe, give or take. And in Utah then, and I think still now, but I know then at least, it was legal to fire somebody for being gay. I don't know if that's still legal, but back then it was. I assume it still is. I don't think Utah's changed. But so because you could be fired for being gay, we opened the company. We work in a company there in Utah, and we just said literally, we won't fire you for being gay. That was it. That was the entire thing. It wasn't like super gay pride company or whatever. It was just, no, you're like anybody else. We will not fire you. We'll fire you if you suck, but we won't. Well, probably bachelor's of words. You can if you want to. We'll fire you if you're bad at your job. Better, see? All right. So anyway, we'll fire you if you're bad at your job. But that's it. But otherwise, we don't care. The amount of talented gay people that came into that company was insane. And we didn't pay extra. We paid the same. Like we just didn't, there was nothing, just the same. And what happened is we drew in such good talent at very good prices, right? Because we didn't have to pay more. So very talented people getting paid regular market. Like, how do you beat that? Tough. And it's because Utah was like, we'll fire you because you're gay. We're like, we don't care. Of course, the owner was like from East Coast like I was, so we didn't care, right? Because again, where we lived in New York City, this was not a thing. So we took that same mindset to Utah. I don't care. And boom. And the company actually wound up being probably 30, 40% gay. If I remember right, it was a huge chunk gay. Again, we didn't care. Fine. We got great talent, low prices, literally what every business wants. So anyway, yes, we wound up getting, either way, you don't want identity politics to be negative or positive. It does make things, it does hurt merit. I agree. And these people were very grateful to us. They worked hard for us. They were very grateful. Why? Because we treated them like human beings. P says, put the fries in the bag. You're making me laugh out loud in a public place, Larry. People at the grocery store think I'm crazy. Well, you kind of are crazy, but you're crazy that I love. So I owe a bunch. I've been so busy. I'm late. I owe a bunch of you a bunch of stuff. And Peace, yes, I did move forward on what we talked about. I haven't responded to. I will. So many of you out there probably like, Larry, why haven't you responded to me yet? Because I've been insanely busy the last couple of days, like crazy busy. A lot of personal stuff actually is happening in my life right now, which I don't feel comfortable sharing right now. But yes, and I'm trying to take care of those things too. So any case, so yes, I'm glad. Just put the fries in the bag. You don't got to tell me all your things. It's fine. So, all right, let me keep going a little bit longer if I can.
Why? More than 60% say they fear backlash from the Trump administration and its actions against diversity.
It's Trump who's doing it. See that, Mike? It's your boy Trump. It's his fault. You didn't see that coming, did you? Yeah, you kind of did.
The equity and inclusion efforts by companies.
Our country will be woke no longer.
Some also.
Now, I want to be clear on this, right? I want to be clear on this. Did Trump say that stuff? Of course he did. Yes. But is Trump actually fighting private companies for this, for woke stuff? He's actually not. What Trump actually did, was he said, I don't care if you don't do the woke stuff. That's what he actually said. And that's what came across. He went as, whatever.
Fear falling prey to conservative activists and customers becoming the next.
Now, that is a real thing, though. They are worried about that because that Bud Light stuff did backfire.
Bud Light, the company getting slammed after its 2023 partnership with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney.
A can with my face on it.
It led to boycotts from figures like Kid Rock.
Bud Light.
Sending sales and shares plummeting in the months that followed. The beer's parent company, Anheuser-Busch, not sponsoring Pride St. Louis after a 30-year partnership.
That's not Trump. I'm just saying. That's not Trump.
The company not returning our request for comment. Our team learning the pullback contributed to a $150,000 deficit for the organization's budget, though individual donors made up for that.
And there we go, as it should be. Individual donors made up for that, as it should be. If you care about this issue, you should put your money behind it. And I'm not joking when I say that. If you care about this issue, put your money behind it. Mike Voss says it. No tax money to celebrate any group's existence. You want to celebrate, spend your money. True. And look, they went out and said, hey, individual people, do you care about the Pride Parade? Well, then write us a check. And they went, you know what? I care about the Pride Parade. Here's a check. Yes, as you should do it. If you care about something, you should absolutely pay for it. For example, my show. If you care about this show, you should click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. See, just like the Pride people did it, you should have pride in this show and click the like button. Or you can share or repost this because you have pride in this show. See that? I'm mixing and matching right there. You didn't see that? I did. Please follow me as best you can. You see the super chats, guys? Please keep super chatting me or ranting me on Rumble if you like either of those two. If you can become a member, please become one. That's how you support the show so I can keep doing this and spend less time working, which I did a lot of work. I did a lot of stuff today. I threw this together as fast as I could because there was so much that I was dealing with today. And I got up early and just, anyway, besides the point, you don't need to know this. $49 per month if you can. Click that join button. Every single member does matter. Please pop up a couple memberships if you can. Also, Rumble if you want to. And if you really want to, you say, Larry, I love you. I can't do $5. Can you too? Subscribe on Facebook. That's only $2. Do that one if you want to. Or if you double love me, subscribe on both because you double love me. That's also good, right? If you don't, you hate the children. Don't hate the children. Don't hate the children. Don't do that. Instead, show that you do love the children and click the like button. That's how you do it, by the way. That is, if you want to know if you love the children, like button. That's how it works. So, yes. All righty, let me grab some more of these if I can. Well, first, let me go a little bit longer on this one, then I'll go back to
also implementing a suggested donation of $10 to enter for the first time in its 45-year history.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right? A suggested donation means you can still show up if you want to, but if you want to support, you give $10 because you care about the organization. Nothing wrong with that. I love that idea. Yes. Phil goes on to say, peace, you'll never be as gay as war. It screws everyone and everything. True. Absolutely. So, Kintsugi's in the house. Hey, I owe you something too. I will reach out to you too. I know I keep saying it. I will. Absolutely.
This process has taught me that this community is resilient and we will find ways to be successful.
And the backlash now going both ways. Take Target, the big box retailer formerly famous for its Pride collection, undergoing its own boycott now too.
Well, Target, we still don't need you.
After rolling back its DEI goals. The company's
and that reverse part does kind of bother me. The same when I spoke to the other woman, a woman talking about this from Rising and Robbie and those people. If you're conservative and you're winning, you don't need to keep punching. Like, you're winning. You don't have to keep punching. You can stop. Why would you boycott Target because now they're not doing the super duper Pride thing? You know, you're not going to get Target all of a sudden do the Pride thing. Leave them alone. Buy what you want to buy from Target, whatever you like from Target. And then I'm sure there's other stores that will have more Pridey stuff, whatever you want. Go buy it from that. They'll do it, right? You don't got to do it. It's not required. Being mean and scolding again, scolding is what got you the loss because you wouldn't stop scolding. So what are you going to do? Stop scolding? No. Just going to keep scolding. We're going to scold more.
Saying the backlash is taking a toll along with tariff uncertainty, causing it to miss first quarter sales estimates. We asked Target about its Pride plans, the company telling us it's absolutely dedicated to fostering inclusivity for everyone.
See that?
Adding it's offering an assortment of celebratory products in about half of stores, similar to last year, and sponsoring local events. But
look at that. They're doing, and then you're mad at them. You're mad at Target's giving you some Pride stuff and sponsoring events. And instead of going, nicely done, Target, we'd like some more or whatever, right? No. Punish. I can't stop scolding. You're going to make Target not have anything to do with you.
The cultural shift going beyond just Pride. You see here the 14-point drop from Republicans in just 4 years in supporting same-sex marriage.
That part is bad. That part's scary. Because the support of same-sex marriage has been going up for a long time. And obviously, conservatives are going to be less supporting. Of course. I mean, they're conservative. Makes total sense. But you're seeing a bunch of conservatives go down and more men are screwing conservative. You're finding more and more men become against gay marriage. You're seeing that backlash against gay adoption. You're seeing it everywhere. Not good for GSM community. That part's not good. Scolding is not going to help. Scolding is what's making that happen. When when we come to a point, I go back to that same thing I talk about all the time. You've heard me say this story 1,000 times from Bill Maher, when those two liberals were talking to him going, why do these stupid conservatives vote against their best interest? Democrats care about them, whatever. And then Bill Maher, who is a liberal, said, because they hate you. That's the reason. Because they hate you. You keep scolding people, they start hating you. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. They just become against you. Why? Because they're tired of being scolded. They start hating you. You don't want them hating you, right? Tolerate and love. Tolerate, accept, not hate. Phil, thank you for the gift of membership, guys. Thank you. To grab a membership if you can. Remember our rules of membership. If you make $2 million or more per month, you may not take a gift of membership. If you make less than $2 million per month, please enjoy membership. If you make $2 million or more, pay the $4.99. Don't be cheap. You make $2 million a month. If you do that, buy it. If you don't, you can take this. Please enjoy. Matt, also, thank you for the gift of membership. Yes, thank you again. Appreciate that. Andrea, too. Oh, my God. Thank you, guys. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I appreciate the support so much. Thank you, guys. I really do. Grab those memberships if you could, guys. It does help tremendously. So, Kintsugi says, like it's performative. True.
The lowest level of acceptance for the party since 2016, when then candidate Trump said this after the Pulse nightclub shooting.
I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology.
To be forward, Trump has never really been anti-LGBT. He hasn't liked the trans people that much. That's true. But when it comes to gay, he never cared. He's been pro-gay marriage for years. Doesn't care about gay people at all. He wasn't anti-gay on his show. He had gay people who won his show when he did Apprentice. Never cared. He's never cared about gay people, good or bad, whatever. He's the same guy for gay people as he is. He doesn't like anybody. Gay people, he doesn't like them same as anybody else. So that's true. He was kind of not awesome on the trans thing, but he got mad when it came to the sports thing. That's where he got mad at. Otherwise, he wasn't that bad. And the gay people hate Trump. I could understand if you're trans, you don't like Trump. I can get that. He has been great with trans people, but how's he beating up gay people? He's been pro-gay marriage forever. I don't know. I guess because it's just Orange Man bad, I guess. But yeah, Orange Man bad. Joel over on Rumble says, Trump has been very LGBT friendly, but the left have convinced people that he hates every part of it. Yeah, and I don't think it's true. I mean, I'm not, look, I didn't vote for Trump. I'm not a Trumpster, but I'm just trying to tell you what's real. Trump is not anti-gay. That's not a thing. There's zero evidence of him being anti-gay. He's anti-woke. That's true. He's not anti-gay. He's just not. And again, most people in their 70s are probably anti-woke. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just explaining. Just saying that. That's all. So yes.
But with corporate money drying up, security is on the minds of Pride organizers. Do you have more concerns about safety and security this year?
Oh, no. Okay. I'm going to get out of that because that's the next thing. Now everyone's going to beat him up and now I got to be victim. Yeah. I'm going to walk away from the victim stuff. But the other piece I wanted to bring up here is this is Brad Palumbo. Last piece I'll bring up on this topic. Brad is gay. I know Brad. Some of you may know and watch his show. And he has never liked the Pride stuff at all. And he speaks about it in this case and has some interesting takes. Again, he's as a gay man, he talks about this. And let me see if I can get where his head is on this one.
It's June, so get ready for the Pride Month logos, the marches in the street and demonstrations that at times veer into lewd and inappropriate behavior in front.
And I've met a lot of people who've gone down this road. If you remember, some of you know Vosh. I've told you that Vosh is gay or bi, whichever you would. He considers himself part of the LGBT community. Vosh does too. He took a lot of heat. For years, Vosh has been the same side as Brad on this one. He's like, have the gay parade, but don't make it about fetishes, right? Don't make it fetish parade. Because then families don't want to go. It makes all gay people seem weird. This is Vosh's saying, not me. Vosh says this. Brad's the same thing. There are a lot of gay people in that community who say, have the Pride parade, enjoy, But why is it gotta be like people wearing leather dog masks and humping each other and stuff? Why is it gotta be that? Why can't I just be, not fetishy? Right? That was his point. Now, again, you get to have any fetish you want. As long as everyone involved is consenting and an adult, I don't care. Again, two things: consenting and adult. I don't even care if you're paying for it. I know in many places that's illegal. I don't care if that's stupid. If you're prepared to pay for it and they're prepared to take money for whatever services you both agree, again, consenting and adult, I don't care. I don't care. But when you do it at these parades, it does turn people off. It does. It turns them off. And you can say, Larry, I don't care, I have a right. You do have a right. I'm not saying you have a right to do so. You may do so. If you want to dress up in a leather dog outfit and start dry humping things, you may do so. But don't be shocked when there is a social backlash from that. There probably will be. If you're okay with that, you keep going. But if you're not okay with that, you probably shouldn't do that. And this is what he talks about. So yes.
Of kids and for the cringe-worthy content, although I do expect it to be somewhat more muted this year with kind of the vibe shift and the changing political winds and a big drawdown in corporate support for some of this stuff. But the activist class, the LGBT Inc.,
Yes, and this is what I was talking about. The activist class, the LGBT Inc., those people are struggling because they were grifters. They were grifters. Andrea says that, Kim, I agree people should just live their lives. Why do we celebrate sexuality? Well, I'll go two parts to this, Andrea. I'll touch two sides of this. Side number one, I think we have in many ways celebrated sexuality. Many ways. We've had fertility celebrations. We've had Valentine's Day. We've had romantic movies. We've celebrated sexuality in many ways. I think we have as cultures, we have. But I'll go to the next piece. My daughter my youngest one came to me a while ago. And she was confused when she was watching some videos about people who were talking so much about their gender. And I said, okay, let's talk about it, right? So as you guys know, when my daughters feel comfortable coming to me with virtually anything, so they do. So we watched the video, it was like a TikTok or Instagram, whatever it was, right? And I started watching the video. And I said, does she have other videos like this too? Yeah, she does, blah, blah. Let me see them. Watching the videos, she got talking about it, whatever. And I said, it seems like all her videos are about her gender identity. She went, yeah. I said, do you know anybody, me, your mom, your family, friends, who spend every day talking about our sexual identity? She said, no. I said, do you know that I'm a straight male? She went, yeah, I know, Dad. Okay. Do I talk about that every day? No. Sometimes I bring it up when it's appropriate. We're talking about it. I do bring it up sometimes. It is a part of who I am, right? She was like, yeah. I said, is it like my personality? She said, no. I said, yeah. Someone who every single day, all they talk about is their identity is broken. If that's all they talk about, they're broken. That person's in trouble. That's someone you should follow. That's someone you should help. Now, does your identity matter? Of course it does. Of course it does. But should it be your personality? No. If it is, you're in trouble. To your point, Andrea, if I'm so worried about talking about my sexuality, my number one thing, all I talk about is my sexuality or my gender identity, or I'll go my racial identity, my ethnic background. If all I talk about is being black, all I talk about is being German, all I talk about is being straight, all I talk about is being gay, I'm broken. I have a problem. The world doesn't need to change. I need to change. I need to get some help, find out who I am, because I have a problem. And me having that conversation with my daughter, it made her look at these creators like, oh, they're all broken. They're all broken. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't talk about your identity or sexuality. Of course you can. And you probably should. But when it's appropriate, right? Again, you're talking about it, you're dating somebody, someone's asked you questions about your background that you care about. So maybe you're talking to your kids or your friends about how you dated and why you dated. Then your sexuality probably matters at that point, right? Because it's relevant to that conversation. Right? Makes sense. Do you do certain things because you're trying to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Okay, well, that will probably matter. Your sexuality would matter in that case. I'm discussing how I'm going to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Fine. But I'm walking down the street and I'm like, I'm this or I'm that. I got problems. Like I'm broken. And that may make some of you upset for me to say that. Because if you're someone who's watching right now and all you talk about is your identity, you don't want to hear it. But I will tell you to your face, if you meet me, if that's all you talk about, You're broken. You require help. That's what you require. The world does have to change. You do. That should not be your number one thing. Whatever you, and again, I'll go to any identity. If that's all you talk about. Again, you may be proud of it. Look, I have an American and German flag here. Clearly, I'm proud of it. But I don't talk about it every day. It's the only thing I talk about. If I did, I would be broken. I would be broken. So, yes, I hope that answers your question, or at least touches that what you were talking about, Andrea. I hope it was. So, all righty. Gene says, we're libertarians. That means we believe in live and let live. 100%. Yes, 100%. I appreciate that. Yes.
Professional cadre of activists and professionals who do this for a living have learned absolutely nothing. And that is incredibly clear from the way they are already celebrating their Pride Month initiatives for 2025. Here is Brandon Wolf of the Human Rights Campaign, the largest activist organization that purports to be about LGBT rights, but is really kind of a Democratic front group, on MSNBC.
That's the part that has bothered me. This is to Mike's earlier point. Mike brought this up earlier. It's in too many cases, it's not actually about the GSM community. It's about Democrats. And that's a problem. So Kintsugi says, Michael and Charlie are very conservative. Makes sense. True. But I'm not sure it's the hill they want to die on if I'm them, right? Dave goes, that is the hill they want to die on. You're right. It is. And I'm like, but should it be? You're right, Dave. It is. But should it be? Kim says, yes, I'll down on Sesame Street Hill. Those values should be instilled inside a family. But Kim, in today's world, you have the option now to not watch Sesame Street. It isn't the only kid show out now. Not even close. In fact, most people don't watch Sesame Street. It's no longer the only kid show. So the people who watch Sesame Street tend to be people who are more left. It's just true. Most people are. So they're watching it. Let them. Yes, let them. So I'm with you. I would just leave it alone. That's just my opinion. Look, again, you have every right to fight and die on that hill if you want to. To Dave's point, I think they do want to die on that hill. My opinion is walk away. It's not you're winning. Don't die on that hill. It's my view. But yeah. Rick says, I like the term GSM, gender and sexual minorities. I agree. It's a better term. It's a better term. You don't have to do that red stuff. You don't have to. And something else. It's more inclusive. GSM is far more inclusive. That's why I try to use that term more than anything else. If you got the LB, now it's LGBTQIA+, that's insanely stupid. We should stop using that term. It's insanely dumb. Just do GSM. It's fine. Or LGBT, it's fine. Either of those would work. Everyone knows what you're talking about, right? When you start going down past that, you become the alphabet people. At that point, alphabet people, all you're doing is you're just virtue signaling. That's all you're doing. And it's unnecessary. You don't need to. Everyone gets what you're talking about. So JJ4884 says, I'm more conservative than libertarian. Licentiousness has flattened the GOP. Communities have the right to enforce norms and standards. I agree. I'm agreeing with you completely. I'm with you. And I think most people are seeing that, right? And again, I'm not against someone saying they think that, whatever they're doing is morality, right? I don't think sex work is immoral. Many people do. And you have a right to say that. And if I engage with a sex worker, which I haven't, not recently, I haven't, but if I did, I wouldn't be ashamed of it. I'd be proud of it. Yes, I did. I don't care. I was going to get 2, but I could only afford 1. I don't care. I don't see it as immoral. But again, consenting and adult, let me keep saying that, those 2 things. But if you thought I was immoral, you have every right to say that. Every right to feel that way. Every right to scold me if you want to. You just can't impede or stop. You have the right to say, I don't want to be, you don't want me in your community. You don't like me at your church. You don't like me every right to do so. I have no problem with that. My only problem is with you stopping me from doing things like that, even if you believe it's immoral. So yeah. Anyway, I get you. I'm not at all concerned about that. Yes. Let's see. Those who want to impose their will defeat those who merely want to be left alone. Paraphrase. Yes, and we have to stop that. You're right, and I wish you weren't right. Right? He is right. Those who want to enforce their will very often win. But the problem is, how far are you going to go? I think the T in the LGBT went far, And I think it hurt them in the long run. I think they hurt them in the long run. So yes. So, okay. Matt says 22 people hate children. 47 watching, 25 likes. Well, just on that YouTube. Remember, we're on 8 platforms. So yeah, thank you for that. All righty, let me keep going. Danny, how are you? Good to see you. Pendulum is now swinging the other way at full swing. It's like we, America, can't seem to find the middle on anything. It drives me crazy. Yes. It's as if always too far left, always more authoritarian. Yes, I agree. Too far left, too far right. Yes, I agree completely. It drives me crazy that we can't just go, can we just be in the middle and let people be where they want to be? And just do it in the government then. It's fine. Make the government like that way. That's fine. Make the government to where it doesn't go crazy. So yeah, anyway.
Talking about their pride theme for this year, which is these colors don't run.
This is the part, what he's going to bring up now is the part where I say the left goes far too far on this one. They're trying to troll the right. And what they're doing is they're insulting and scolding. That's what got you here in the first place. As I said to the right, it is my opinion, don't die on a Sesame Street hill. Let it go. Don't do it. That's my opinion. You have a right to do what you want. The left, don't die on this hill. Don't fight this. Scolding is what got you here. Now pull back. Remember the woman I showed you earlier on Rising? She was doing good, but she was like, people are people, la, la, la. Then she went, no, inclusion is for everyone. And the scolding came out. Scolding is what got you here, LGBT. You should probably stop scolding. So, yeah. Garrett coming in hot as always, my brother. Thank you so much. Give it 10 Sharpe memberships. Thank you, my friend. Guys, grab member rules. $2 million or more. Do not take a membership. If you're under 2 million, feel free to grab one of those memberships. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate the support tremendously. We are rocking on. I hope I'm giving you guys good content, stuff you find interesting, stuff you find funny, all those things, right? I really hope so. Yes. All righty. Peace is over on Rumble. He says, we are the cool kids because we can say the F word. On YouTube, you have to do the thing to replicate. Yes. I've got to go the F word or the F bomb. Correct. Because YouTube, I have to talk baby talk. True. Absolutely true. I wish it wasn't, but it is. All right. Let's see. Kim says, I think it's immoral, but it's not my place to demand moral conduct over anyone. That's between them and their maker. But not just that, Kim. You do have a right to try to influence me or influence them or anyone else. You have every right to try to influence people, right? Through your freedom of speech, through your example, through your community, through your works, right? You have every ability. You can if you want to. You can try to explain to them. You can try to say what you think is right and wrong, 100%. You just can't impede or stop them. But you can say, hey, Larry, I think you're wrong. Your actions are immoral, and here's why. Here's why it harms people. Here's why it's bad. Here's religiously, here's what a Bible says no. If you think that's going to work for the individual you're talking to. I mean, some people aren't Christian and won't care, but some people are, and they might care. Nothing wrong with that. And I think you should do that. That we should try to should people. Nothing wrong with that at all. You have every right to have your ideas and to keep trying to push them. Absolutely. So yes. Mike says, at Larry, I think the backlash is not on individual choices as long as kids are not involved. This is where you hit a big point. Another backlash was when the children were involved in trans community. This is when the hubris, Mike, I talked about hubris the other night. I talked about, my worry that Trump might have hubris, my worry that Israel and Netanyahu might have hubris, right? People who have hubris tend to go too far. The trans community thought, because they were winning for a while, 2015, they were winning. They were absolutely winning. Totally true. They put it like Woman of the Year was a trans woman. Women were winning beauty contests. Remember that? They were winning. And they were like, we are unstoppable. You know what? We're transgender kids. And they should have thought, wait a minute. I'm about to fight moms. yeah, that doesn't go well. That's a struggle. That you better really be ready and prepared if you're gonna fight moms. That's a whole different level of fight, right? Can you beat moms? It is possible. Possible. Oh my God, is it hard? Like, oh my God, is it hard? And they were like, no, we can do everything. So we can beat the moms too. No, you can't. No. To your point, Mike, they started messing with the kids. They were no longer, as you heard me say multiple times, consenting and adults. You heard me say that multiple times because I don't want to fight moms. I'm not fighting moms. And I don't believe it. And I don't want to fight moms. And I believe only adults should be making decisions anyway. That's just my personal view. So I'm going to say that. Only adults. So once they went down that road, all of a sudden the kids got involved and the moms were like, now we're fighting. Now we're scrapping. And they started losing. You're right. That was a bridge too far. That was a bridge too far. He goes, it's against political org agendas. Dems are playing victim for political points. Yes, because it's worked for them. They don't know any better. I agree with you again, but I think it's because they don't know any better. Like if the only tool you have is a hammer, that's the one you use, right? That's the tool you have. So that's what you use. Yeah. So Little Tick is here. Thank you for the $5. It's whatever month. It's whatever day. Nobody cares. It sucks for us all. Commune or excommunicate. Let me give you pushback on this. Little Tick. I agree. It's whatever month. But if the month starts to have social value, or the day starts to have social value, you can use it for positive things. So I'll give you an example. Very often, I will talk to people about changing their life in December. Why December? Because the new year is coming. And I go, Larry, I know what you're thinking right now. It's just another day, Larry. It's a day we put on the calendar. True. You're right. No argument. It's January 1st is another day. You're correct. But there is an emotional piece of renewal that many people believe and feel. Well, it's the new year. I have to have a New Year's resolution. I have to change my life now, whatever. So, yeah, it may be another day in reality. But if an individual's mind, that day has some value, you can use that day as motivation for someone to change, do something special, renewal or something like that. Veterans Day, you can use that day to think about, why are we making so many damn veterans, right? Memorial Day, why are we sending our people off to die in wars that don't mean anything, right? So yes, you are technically correct, but you can use these days and these times to make points, to help people, to move people, to change your life, because these days often have cultural relevance, even though they may not have actual relevance, right? They may have cultural relevance. If they do, it could help. A lot of people find their faith on Easter or Christmas, right? A lot of people do. So it's a day. And again, it's another day, right? You can find your faith anytime, any day. There's no rule on when you can find your faith. Find it anytime you want. But many do on those days because that's the time they get back with their family. People start talking about it. So let me just add that piece if I can. So yes. So JJ488 says, as an Orthodox Christian, symbols are important. For the record, I'm more into Orthodox. Yes, exactly correct. Yes, it does matter. It does matter. It goes on to say mama bears are the clarification. True. Mama bears are. Absolutely. So anyway, I hope that part was clear. Let me grab a couple more of these if I can. A couple minutes of this.
I think these colors don't run. I think that spirit of resilience and resistance is about.
What are you resisting against? It's a serious question. This is to Mike's point. They're all playing. Is there an actual? And if I'm wrong, please correct me, because I hope I'm not. I hope I'm correct on this. I don't see a massive attack on the GSM community. I don't see it. I see Americans, 80% agree, 80% or more agree that trans athletes should not be playing in women's sports. If that's an attack, that's a hill you should not die on. If you're part of the trans community, don't die on that hill. That's not a right. You don't have a right to play in the NBA. You don't have a right to play in the WNBA. You don't have a right to do that. You have a right to exist, live your life, liberty, all that stuff, but not to play a sport. That's not a right. It's not. Don't die on that head. It's insanely dumb. And some people are. That there's a tackle on. Everything else, are gays all of a sudden not get married? Are gays all of a sudden not can't vote? Something. I mean, I don't know. Maybe am I missing it? If I'm missing it, tell me. I don't see it.
Acknowledging that this is a community that has been through incredibly difficult times before.
Again, yes. Yeah, years ago. Yes. Yes. I get it. Right? I get it. Years ago. And that's the piece. It's not today. So yes. Lunatic, another $5. Thank you, my friend. Melting pots. Yes. Segregated communities don't give a S. Nuance. We are facing segregation of so isolated categories. More generality, humanity needed. Well, let me grab a bunch of these. It's a bunch here. Let me grab a bunch. Number one is humans aren't naturally, and you read the word segregated because we assume because of American history that segregation means racially. And I don't know if you meant that, Lunatic, but I think most people will think about that because of America's history. And I want to be clear. Humans aren't naturally racist. And people say that, they're just wrong. There's no evidence that it be true. It's absolutely not true. We are naturally tribal. That's true. Humans are naturally tribal. But we create tribes over everything. We create tribes over whether you're a Yankee fan or a Mets fan. Tribes over what school you went to. Tribes over what city you're born in. Tribes over, whether you were in the Marine Corps or the Army, right? We create tribes over all types of things. And that's natural and human. So we will sometimes segregate ourselves amongst our tribes. That's true. But the tribe can be actually integrated in other issues. That makes any sense. It takes government to force racial segregation. Humans don't do that. It's not a thing we do. Governments do that. They force it. But we create all types of communities. We also, even when we have communities, we often don't isolate our communities. Some do, but usually we don't. The Amish don't isolate. They still integrate with the people. They talk to the people, right? But they have their own community, but they still talk to others, right? I think it happens often. And we often intermarriage, and that's how we grow our tribe. So yes, that's what I don't like. What I don't like about that I guess trans flag, people call it, whatever that thing is, versus the pride flag. The pride flag says we're all together. Anyone can be part of our community. You want to come in, you're welcome. The other one doesn't say that. It segregates us. And that's why I don't like the LGBTQ plus IA, whatever. It segregates even more. I like GSM. It's much more open. I agree with you. Yeah, thank you for $10. My biggest gripe I have with pride, and heard echo from both inside and outside the LGBT community, is the sexualization of pride. Thank you for that. I've heard that many times. But I haven't heard sexualization. What I've heard is the fetishization. I've heard that's the issue. That's what I've heard. So you may have heard it other ways. So the indecent exposure, to put it politely, yes, has really added to the backlash. True. Right? Look, do you have a right to have whatever type of intimacy with other consenting adults as you like? 100%. I have no issue. If you want to use some types of things that I may not want to use, okay, no worries. Can you show those things outwardly in public? You can. But if you do, there will be a backlash. And you know what? As long as it's not a legal backlash, I'm okay with it. I am. Right? To JJ488, his point. You get to say, I don't want you, for whatever reason, in my community. And I mean that not physically, can't live in my household, but right, I don't want you around my people. I don't want you don't get to be around me and my people. You don't have to. That's okay. That's okay. Everyone should be able to do that as they see fit. So I think it's true. You find out most people in the GSM community, they just want to live their life. And when someone says, I'm going to be fetishizing, what the average conservative, most conservatives, don't care about pride one way or the other. They don't go. They're not going to go. They don't care. Okay, do your silly parade. That's how they think. Good luck. I'm going to go watch football. You do your silly parade. They don't care. But when you start to sexualize it and fetishize it, what they hear, Whether you're saying that or not, what they hear is, take that. Take that, you prude. Take that, you prude. That is what they hear. Now, you might say, I'm not saying that. Okay, but they're going to hear that. You might go, Larry, I don't care because I'm righteous. Okay, you may be righteous. I'm not stopping you. But there's going to be a backlash. Understand to be true. And that's what's happening. I think, Danny, you're correct. I've heard that from a lot of people who do identify of being in that community. I hear it often. Every year, in fact.
And has turned those obstacles into progress. And it's also a declaration that there is no president that can push us back into the closet. There is.
Okay, no, this is straw man. Mike, you brought up perfectly. This is victimhood stuff. Whatever you might think about Trump, and you have heard me more than once criticize him, in no way is Trump trying to push gay people back in the closet. That's not a thing. He made that up. He's trying to be a victim. And the hard part is so many people are looking now and going, stop. Just stop. Stop being a victim. Stop scolding. Just go live your life and shut up. But this is to Brad's point. This guy is part of LGBT Inc. He's part of the activist class. He's getting paid off this. This is how he pays his bills. So if he's not a victim, he's not getting paid. So I guess he's a victim.
There's no government that can strip us of our joy, of our fight for freedom.
Who is stripping them of their joy? Nobody. Who is stripping them of their freedom? Nobody. And this is MSNBC. So woman with three names, because every woman on MSNBC has three names. Woman with three names will have to say, yes, oh my God, yes. She'll have to, because that's the rules. I don't know who she is, but I'm sure she has three names, because they all have three names.
We're not going anywhere. And Pride is not just going to be a celebration. It's also going to be a protest.
It's a protest now. Of what? Who's stopping you from Pride? He just made that up. And I didn't watch, but I'm sure woman with three names was like, yeah, 100%.
I rolled
yeah.
my eyes so hard when I watched this clip that I think I gave myself a headache, because what do you mean there is no government that is going to push us back into the closet? This is the kind of partisan hyperbole that has discredited the alphabet activists in the minds of so many Americans. Trump is openly supportive of gay marriage and actually appointed the highest ranking gay official in the federal government ever, in Scott Bessent, his Treasury Secretary. So the idea that we're like in the middle of some Trumpian campaign, I have criticisms of Trump, sure, on all sorts of things, but the idea that he's trying to put gay people back in the closet is absurd and laughable, and discredits the real debates and issues that can be raised around the different.
And there are people who exist in America who want to put gay people back in the closet. Those people do exist. This goes right back to making Orange Man bad everything. And then the people who are actually bad on this issue, they skirt. They get off. There are people in America who want to put gay people back in the closet. They absolutely exist. And they want to do it legally, not just by talking. If you want to do that by talking, you have the right to do so. If you want to tell people they're wrong, or gay people are wrong or bad, and they shouldn't be gay, you can say it if you want to. And maybe you'll convince somebody. You probably won't, but it's fine. You can if you want to. No worries. But there are people who want to pass laws that stop things, that stop gay people from having a happy life. And I have a problem with that. And you should, not have to, not must. In my view, you should care about that too. Because if they take the rights from gay people, they will find a reason to take them from you. That's how it works. I spoke about this when I talked about gun rights. Right? All gun control began as racism. I'm not joking. That's how it began. It began in the 1860s, trying to keep guns out of the hands of former slaves and out of black people's hands. That's how it began. And now what? They take guns from anybody now. So you can try to stop people from getting married or whatever you want, gay people. Eventually it comes to you. So it is my view, leave people alone, government. And recognize there are some people who actually want to put them back in the closet. But that person is not Trump. As much as people hate Trump, he's not the guy. So Peace over on Rumble says, I can confirm I've never worried about Trump pushing gay people into the closet. It's true. That's not what he's doing. That's not a thing. There are other reasons to be worried about Trump. Putting gay people in a closet is absolutely not one of them. That's just people saying, I'm a victim. Give me money. That's it. Patty says, the issue I see is LGBTQ plus young people are more than 4 times as likely to attempt suicide than their peers. Yes, however, many of them are simply unhappy. And that's the problem. And they're trying to use and I saw it with my daughters and their friends. They're trying to use this as a way to escape. See, the reason why I'm unhappy is because my sexuality. That's my reason. That's why I don't love myself. That's why I'm not good, or I'm not good enough. That's why I'm not being picked by the boy or the girl that I like. And it's true. That's one of the issues. That wasn't a thing before. So yeah. I'm Always Right says, when your whole personality is based on who you sleep with, you have officially become a clown. I don't know if I'd use the word clown, but yes, it's a problem. You should not. That's not the answer. Yes. Kintsugi says, that's why you should surround yourself with a variety of people. So you should judge less. It's one of the reasons why people in large cities tend to be less judgy. Tend to. Not always. Because of that, Kintsugi, you're right. There's multiple people, different types of people around you. So you're going to find one of them, whoever your them is, who's actually pretty good, right? Whoever your them was, right? I don't like those people, whoever those people are. And then you meet one of those people and go, oh, I might be wrong about those people. They're actually okay. Or at least this one's okay. Maybe others are okay. It's very true. Yes, I completely agree. 100%. So, all right. Patty goes on to say, Mr. Rogers put his feet in a pool with a black man and it caused an uproar. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. It's important though. Yes. All righty. Danny says, by that logic, it's as if, why should LGBT people taxpayer money go to marriage and the church then? This comes across as a double-edged sword. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure. Was that for me? What I would say here is, if you're gay and you're giving money to a church that wouldn't marry you, you probably shouldn't give money to that church. And I hope at least taxpayer money is not going to church. It shouldn't be. But yeah, I would agree with you, Danny. If you're gay and your church wouldn't marry you, why would you give money to that church? I agree. I would give, if I was gay and I wanted to get married, I would give money to a church that would marry me if that's what I thought, right? I mean, you have a choice. You're not being taxed for that. I would agree that you should not give your money to an organization that doesn't respect you for whoever you are, right? I wouldn't want to give money if people said, oh, Larry, you can't be part of Greek Orthodox Church because you're ethnically German, you're ethnically black. You can't be part of the Orthodox Church. If they said that, I wouldn't give any money. I wouldn't support that church. So I agree with you. I'm not sure if that was for me or not. I'm sorry. I have so many of these that come pouring through. I miss them sometimes. So yeah. Anyway, this is my last piece for Brad.
Trump administration's trans policies, some of which I think are common sense, but some of which I do think go too far with this kind of hysterical nonsense and the intentionally inflammatory framing of it all.
That's what he just said. It's intentional. It's intentional. It's made to get people to feel like the world's ending and give money. It is the grifting class. That's what it is. It's the grifting class. Yes, absolutely.
Seriously, guys, let me show you this. I'm going to put this on screen. As part of their campaign, the human rights campaigns, Pride Month campaign, these colors.
This was made just to troll. Now, do they have the right to do so? They can. I'm not saying they can't do this. They can. But you put this up with a bunch of conservatives who love their American eagle, and that these colors don't run, which is supposed to be the red, white, and blue of the American flag, and you put this up, and you think there's not going to be a backlash? You might say, well, Larry, there shouldn't be. Okay, maybe there shouldn't be, but there's gonna, and you know there's gonna. That's why you did it. You couldn't stop scolding. Pride people, this is not the hill to die on. But they don't listen to me. They don't listen to me. This is the wrong hill to die on. It just is. Yes. It's the wrong hill to die on.
Don't run. they put a bald eagle, so like the quintessential American symbol. They gave it eyelashes, drag queen makeup, wings, all the different pride colors, and painted.
Not just the pride colors, because you see the brown and the black and the light blue and the white and the pink. That's the other flag colors too. Yes.
Toenails, and my personal favorite, a fetish harness. Yes, they put the bald eagle in a fetish harness.
Do you understand? If you're part of this community, do you understand how this will just make people angry? And of course, they go to a human rights campaign. It's not a right for you to try to get people to harness you. That's not a right. Anyway, Daniel Donnelly, thank you for the $5. Antonio Delgado will make a great lieutenant governor to Larry Sharpe. I like that. I love that. That's a good idea. So maybe think he'll join my ticket. We'll see. We'll see. He doesn't like Kathy Hochul, so I guess in that regard, we agree. That might be a thing. Daniel, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yes, that maybe we'll do it. It could happen. So I thought you guys might enjoy
as
this
their
piece
Pride
here.
Month campaign. They really have learned absolutely nothing.
Thank you. Scolding is what got you here. Like this goes back to the same. They just want to keep fighting because it's a complex. It's an industrial complex. This has become the LGBTQ industrial complex, right? Or as he calls them, LGBT Inc. That's what he calls them. So yeah, I totally get it. 100%, I get it.
And they are doubling down on the same kind of ridiculous partisan hyperbole and bizarre conflations with irrelevant things like your kinks and your fetishes, which has nothing to do with being gay or lesbian or bisexual or even.
Thank you. Lots of people have fetishes, regardless of whether you're straight or gay or trans or whatever. It's fine. You can have your fetish. You don't have to put your fetish in the street. I would prefer you don't put your fetish in the street, because if you put your fetish on the street, people are going to judge you for it. Whether you're straight or gay or trans, whatever, doesn't matter. If you decide to put your fetish on the street, you're going to be judged by it. And the problem is they want to force it. And that's what people see. You hear that phrase all the time from these same people. We have to normalize this. No, we don't have to normalize anything. It's not required. And the more you try to force it, the more there's a backlash. The more there's a backlash. Again, if I put my harness on and I'm a straight male and I walk outside with my harness, whatever, people are going to say things, right? And I'm like, you can't say things to me. It's my right. And we should normalize Larry wearing a harness or whatever that thing is, right? Yeah. No, you don't have to. If I ever come out wearing a harness, feel free to tease me if you want to. You can. And if I ever do it, I know I'm be teased. And I should accept that. That's how it is.
Transgender, and then they wonder why data show that support for gay marriage is going down, not up. New Gallup data show a significant drop in support for same-sex marriage.
This has been the thing that people have been worried about, and I agree. This part has been bothering me because I don't want people to stop becoming anti-gay over this. And I feel like that is the next step, right? They're becoming anti-gay. And it's not, again, to quote the horrible Ibram X. Kendi, to tease him, you don't have to be anti-anything. Just don't care. It's fine. Just don't care. Just live your life. Don't care. And you can even not like it if you don't want to, but you don't got to actively try to stop it. It's fine.
Among Republicans of 14 points in the last 3 years, going from 55% in support to just 41% in support. There's been a smaller decline in the overall U.S. public, going from just over 70% a few years ago down to 68%.
Yes.
Support among Democrats remains strong as ever. Now, we're going to get into more of this, and in particular, I'm going to show you some of the latest visual monstrosities to come out of the Pride Month corporate wing, and how TikTok is celebrating the holiday. And then we're going to revisit a 2018 column that I wrote that...
We don't have to go that far. I just want you to see that piece to make sure you understand what I was talking about. This is the part that I think, I'm going to walk down this road. And what I think about this is, in the long run, I think this will be good for the GSM community in the long run. I think the GSM community will find out who is their real allies and who isn't, which is important. I think you're going to find an increase in individuals deciding to donate and support as they should. To Mike's earlier point, if you care about the Pride Parade, you should write a check to it. And I'm not making this, I'm not joking. You should, right? If you want to, you should do so. If you care about these parades, you should do so, right? There are certain parades I wanted to be involved in, and I paid for it. When we had our booth at the Pride Parade, we paid for it. The booth wasn't free. We paid for it, right? Because we wanted to be part of it. The Libertarian Party has been very pro-gay and lesbian for decades. The Libertarian Party was pro-gay marriage in the 70s. We were way ahead of the curve on this one. Way ahead of the curve. So, yeah, we want to be part of Pride. We pay for it. No worries. Through donations, which is what you should do. So, yes. Kim says, problem with gay movement is when children came home from school talking about, I'm gay or I'm bi. Yes, third graders. Back in the 80s, the books banned from New York schools. Something has two mommies. I remember that, yes. And again, I'll go back to it, Kim. When you're messing with the kids, you're fighting the moms. That's not going to go over well. That's not going to go over well. Now, can a kid say they're gay at whatever, 5 or whatever the case may be? I mean, I could say it, but are they? I mean, again, I have 2 kids, and they're both Gen Z, so they went through this directly we're talking about. And did they come home confused? More than once. More than once. More than once. I just talked it out with them. Okay, let's have a conversation. Talked it out. And was it easy? Of course not. That's parenting nowadays is hard when it comes to that stuff, right? Because kids don't know any better. That's why you keep hearing me saying, I can't say it. If I said it 100 times, not enough. Consenting adults. That's the key piece. You might say to yourself, but Larry, we have to open them up to this when they're children, so it's acceptable. All right. To be clear, we don't have to do that. Can you, as a parent, if you want to? Of course you can. They're your children. You may if you want to. It is not the government's job to do so at all. Government schools, not at all. It is not their job to do that at all. Now, the woman from earlier, she says, but inclusion's for every family. No, it isn't. Inclusion is for families that want inclusion. Please do so. But Larry, they can't stop from seeing people who are going to be gay or whatever. True. And they'll handle it as they see fit, as long as they are not physically stopped. If you train your kid to not punch things that are odd or different to them, they'll be fine. They'll come home when they go, Ma, I saw 2 guys kissing. And you'll have that conversation. And if you on the opposite side go, we can't have guys kissing because I have that conversation. Too bad. You have to have that conversation. You have it when they're little, when they're older, or not, or whatever you want. But sometimes you're going to see 2 dudes kissing, and that's going to happen. The person's correct, but you are not required in any way to force it on your children. You're not. You're just not required. And I know I keep saying it, but I agree with you, Kim. The school should not be teaching this. It's not a thing for them to teach. It just isn't. If you want to teach it in your kids or send them to a special school, private school or something, go ahead. You find people, particularly on the right, who get mad at me and go, Larry, we got to end these woke schools. And I say, no. Like, what do you mean? These woke schools are bad. No, we have to give people better school choice because some parents like woke schools. I know, I live in New York City. Love woke schools. Not woke enough. I know Mike's ready to scream, but he knows I'm right. There's people in this city who not woke enough. Woke it up even more. 100%. And I'm not mad at him for that. But then let us all have school choice. And then you send your kid to the school you want. You want the non-woke school, the super woke school, the kind of woke school, none of that, fine. But the government should not be deciding that. Parents should be. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So yes. So David says there's a K through 12 Eastern Orthodox school in Houston. I don't think that's true, Dave. I'm pretty sure it's not K through 12. It's probably K through 7 or 8. I don't think, unless it's Russian Orthodox, maybe. But Greek Orthodox, there's only one Greek Orthodox. It might be Russian Orthodox or Coptic, maybe. Houston may be Russian. I don't think it's Greek Orthodox. I would have to check on that. I don't think that's true. Again, Eastern Orthodox includes what you would call Oriental Orthodox. You call it that too. Russian Orthodox. Serbian Orthodox is usually also Russian Orthodox. Until recently, Ukrainian Orthodox was also Russian Orthodox. Until recently, that has changed, as you know why. So yes, Egyptian is Coptic, also known as Oriental. So yeah, you have a bunch of those. So yeah, but I don't think Greek, or even though they are officially the same, they're not. They're a little bit different, obviously. So a little bit different. So there we go. All right, let me grab a couple of these if I can. Ryan, thank you for $2. Says scold fatigue symptom is a real thing. Yes. Tired of being scolded. Just tired. Ryan, thank you so much. And people are just now they're fighting back. They don't even care if it makes sense. Just you scolded me. Okay, now I'm going opposite. It doesn't make any sense. So yes. Ryan goes on to say, thank you for another $5. I'm not going to be anti-gay, but I'm going to be anti-government, anti-big business, and anti-sports teams for shoving their agendas down through. Oh, I get, yes. It's true. Yeah. In fact, you know what? You said that. So if I can find it, is it still here? Palumbo actually brings it up too. Maybe I will bring it up since you brought it up, Ryan. Ryan goes on to say the NFL's football is gay campaign is so unnecessary. It's not even funny. I know. It's just, yeah. Just stop virtue signaling. Just stop. Just no need for it. All right. You know what? Since you brought it up, I'm going to bring it because he does go on and he shows a little bit of that. Let me see if I can find that piece. He does. Brad brings up that thing. He hates it too. So you guys are on the same page. I didn't think it was appropriate, but since you brought it up, I will see if I can find it real fast. He is talking about, where is it? There we go. There it is.
The LGBT Pride Month without some graphic design war crimes like this from the Yankees, where they put their symbol, which is ugly because they suck and are trash anyway, go Red Sox, and say,
I now hate Brad because the Red Sox are garbage. Go to hell. Yankees are #1 team in the world. Thank you very much. Keep going.
Happy Pride Month with the bizarre progress flag colors in the New York Yankees symbol. They are not the only team. This is something of a trend with the New England Patriots putting up the ugly progress flag on their stadium.
Oh, it's called the progress flag? Oh, there we go. The progress flag. I don't like the progress flag. I like the pride flag. I don't like the progress flag.
The thing that gets me about this every time is these designs, set aside the politics for a moment, are so hideous, so ugly, so diabolical in their visual aesthetic that you know a gay person did not design them.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Definitely one of these spicy straights, one of these activists who claims one of these labels that's really just a heterosexual person. Now we'll take a look.
See that? He said it too. It was just me. He called them a spicy straight that claims a title. That's the spicy straight that says they're queer or non-binary. It wasn't just me. See, Brad agrees with me. I never heard it called spicy straight. I like that though. I may use that. Spicy straight. See that? That's what you are. You are spicy straight. That's you. So yes, call yourself non-binary or queer, but you're not. That's not a thing. He's right.
Look at how woke TikTok and Instagram influencers are celebrating the start of Pride Month.
It's the first day of Pride! Hi, gays! Happy Pride Month!
Happy Pride Month, Trump supporters. May your children be gay and happy, and may you find your fathers on Grindr. Wow! Happy Pride Month!
So we'll just keep scolding. We'll just keep scolding. I'll just scold them.
Celebrating our month.
Wow. With PR like this, I just can't believe support for gay rights is going down. This is my shocked face. Guys, none of this, if you followed my content and my criticisms of the LGBT movement, none of this will be new to you. But I wanted to go back.
So yeah, he talks about how he had been on this train for a long time. I brought that up, Brian, because you brought it up. So I just wanted to keep going down there because you brought it up. I thought it'd be interesting. So that's all. Peace Logic says, spicy straight. Love it. That is kind of cool. Spicy straight. I'm going to use that too. I do think it's kind of cool. Spicy straight. That's my new cool word, a phrase I'm going to start using. So yes. All righty. See if I can go here if I can. Let's see. Missy says that, but there is a vast amount of homophobia in the Libertarian Party. I noticed, especially when Chase ran for president. There is some. I think you're right. There is some. And the funny part is our first presidential candidate was gay. 1972. So we've had more than one gay candidate. Like we have more than openly gay, right? I mean, I'm sure the others have had gay candidates too, but not openly. I was just open, didn't care. Chase is openly gay, doesn't care. So yeah, and we should be okay with that, right? We should be okay with it. But again, the problem with that was the timing on Chase was terrible. If Chase had actually gotten hit, well, I do live in New York City. If Chase had actually gotten nominated when the backlash wasn't so strong, nobody would have cared. It was bad timing on his part. He just got unlucky, to be very forward. It was a bad timing on his part. That's what it was. So yes. Mike says, why does anyone think corporations care about any social issue? They care as long as it makes money. It's all pandering for them. There is some exceptions though, Mike. There are some exceptions. And I think now you're going to see those, right? Those that there are exceptions. And the example I'll give you is like a Hobby Lobby, right? Where they care about Christianity. They care, that matters to them. And they close their stores on Sunday when they literally know they can make more money by staying open on Sunday. But to them, it matters. So they do that. So I think there are some. And my point is, if you actually care about it, if you pull the requirement out and woke is no longer cool, the organizations that do step up are the ones whose leadership actually cares. There'll be a lot less of them, but at least now you know, oh, the board of this company or the leadership of the C-suite of this company actually cares about issue X. Why? Because they don't have to, and they still are. So I think you will find some who actually care. A whole lot less, obviously, but you will find some. So yeah. All right. Peace. Thank you for the $1 over there on Rumble. Progress flag. What the F? I've never heard of that. Me either. That's the first time I heard that. So yeah, there we go. Yeah. I guess that's cool now, I guess. But whatever, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yes. All righty. Let's see if I can grab this. All righty. Oh, Mike, you had a couple of, okay, let me see if I can grab it. Mike said a couple. Let me see if I can get through this. The problem with pandering and forced blind acceptance is that it can lead to people like the TN person who used a long distance hole puncher, a very broken, vile person because of actions. Hold on, one of two. See if I can find a second one. Who didn't get love through changed per media push and legal mandates, then last out to harm innocence. That's a danger at the moment affecting a generation. What I would say is, what winds up happening is the person believes that their way to respect and or happiness is becoming a martyr for their cause. I think that's kind of what you're saying, but I think that's what they want to, that's the end game is the way I become successful or happy or whatever is by making that happen. Grab some of these here. Luke says, personally speaking, my local news channel has run at least 6 news stories parading Pride Month. That's just opposed to the complete lack of coverage of Military Appreciation Month. Ooh. And the one day they ran a story on Memorial Day. It's the constant banging of the drum. Basically alarm fatigue for the cause. Just my opinion. Yeah, I think they're worried. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yes. All righty. Kintsugi says, yes, Larry, a lot of us, and I hope things okay. Things are satisfactory at the moment. They'll be okay. I got a little more work to do to take care of some personal stuff, but yes, they will. Thank you for that. Yes. And I will get back to you. I promise. I will. Yes. I promise I will. It's taking some time, but yes. Phil says, Larry is transitioning to a gubernatorial candidate. Am I? Maybe. To do such a thing, if I were to do such a thing, that would take a whole lot of energy and time and everything. Yes. Rick says, Larry just needs to identify as being on the ballot. That's it. That was my problem last time, Rick. I should have identified as a gubernatorial candidate on the ballot, and I didn't do that. Then I have to get a new flag though. Then, so I got like add a stripe in that flag somewhere. Put like a gold stripe in there. That's my libertarian stripe. Gotta put that stripe in there. That's the problem. And we'll call it the Liberty Progressive flag or something, whatever. Yes, there we go. We'll call it that. Oh, good. Ray from nowhere. Thank you for the $5. I think when France Olympics started handing out gold medals for domestic abuse was when this issue jumped the shark. What? When France Olympics started handing out gold medals for. I think that's a joke, but I'm not getting it. I don't get the joke. I guess it's a joke. I don't get it though. I must have missed something. Did I miss something? Maybe it's something inside. I'm not getting it. Sorry. Ocean Blue says share on X. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. Absolutely. I appreciate that. All righty. See if I can go on here. All right. Matt goes smooth transition live. I know I'm getting better and better at that. Absolutely. 100%. Yes. So, all right. So I can grab this here if I can. Daniel says, imagine the mindset of conservatives who prefer a kid being an orphan than having a loving and capable parent who happen to be gay. I agree with you completely. I agree. I think we shouldn't be against these things, right? At all. Now, as long as you do what you would, I hope would always do, and you vet any group, any parents, right, who want to adopt a kid, as long as you vet them appropriately, why would I care, right? I will go even one step further, Daniel. What if it wasn't even a gay couple? What if it was, say, I'm making this up as an example, two sisters who never got married, right? Who are now in their 40s or 50s and don't want to get married, or have chosen not to, whatever. They don't want to get married and they want to have a kid, and they want to kind of co-parent. Even that could be okay in theory. It would depend on how you want to do that, but even that in theory could be okay. Maybe one is the parent and the other is the guardian or something, right? You could even do something like that if you wanted to. So look, if there are adults who want to help raise children, and again, you vet them, so there's no like weird stuff going on. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that at all. Yes, I don't see that problem with that at all. I agree with you completely. But again, look, I understand someone who believes and feels strongly that the best way to raise children is a mother and a father, and I happen to think that is the best way. I agree, but that's not where our world is. I wish more people were raised that way. I think I've said this before. In America now, if you're a child and you grow up for your full 18 years and you have your biological mother and father in the same household as you for all 18 years, you are now officially in the minority. As sad as that sounds, you are now in the minority. Most kids now raised in America do not get 18 years with their biological mother and father in the household. I get why conservatives are mad. That's a problem. Now, you might say, well, Larry, anyone could. Anyone could. Agreed. But wouldn't we rather, if we had a choice, that it's mother and father, biological, in the household? Of course, we'd rather have that. But to be forward, Daniel's right. That's not where the world is. It'd be amazing if it was. It's not. Since it's not, why don't we get as many children being taken care of by loving adults regardless? I agree completely. Even though I can say I would rather have it a certain way, yeah, but I get where I am. So, yeah. Robert says, I'm a bit confused. So it's okay for conservatives to intensely hurt companies through boycotting for not embracing their values, but when LGBTs follow suit, they're scolding? Yes, and let me tell you why. 2 parts. 1, conservatives were responding to the push that was their backlash, and they've won. So that's why I'm telling conservatives, back off on the Sesame Street thing, right? That's what I'm saying. You've won. Back off on the Sesame. Don't fight that battle. Now they're going to anyway. But I think they shouldn't. My view is, Robert, that you've won your battle. Leave Sesame alone. Don't get the moms involved for Sesame Street. Don't do it. Just walk away. You've won. Walk away. That's what I'm saying. LGBT community has been scolding for decades. So yes, if you've been scolding for decades and that's what got the backlash, you should stop scolding again. Yes, right? Because it's each side, right? It's different when each side does it because they have different histories. Correct. You might think it's hypocritical. It's not, because the history matters, right? The history does matter. So yeah. That's what I'm saying. So, all right. Kentucky says, yes, I've been telling my evangelical friends that Trump is pro-LGBT. Yes, it's true. He is. It's absolutely true. Yeah. Andrea says, he isn't anti-gay. He's against trans women in sports. True. You're right. That is true. Yes, absolutely. All right. Phil says, if he was anti-gay, who would close Melania? Accurate. Yes, that'd be a problem. Yes. That would be a problem, 100%. And she's got to be clothed effectively. I mean, everyone I know who follows like fashion or cares about that, all of them love Melania, even if they hate Trump. Some love Trump, but even if they hate Trump, they love Melania. They always say the same thing, like, oh, Melania always looks good, or she's always gone. They love Melania. They do. Everyone I know who's into fashion. If you're not into fashion, you may not care. But I know a lot of people who are into fashion. Every one of them loves Melania. She always looks good. I hear it all the time. Yes, all the time. Yeah. All right, so I'll go here. Phil goes on to say he was both the first president to support gay marriage at the beginning of his term, and he supported gay marriage before Obama did. True. You're not wrong. Look, there's reasons to be mad at Trump. Putting gays in the closet's not one of them. It's just not one of them. Absolutely. Gene says, my husband and I went to a show that we were told was a tribute to Freddie Mercury. In reality, it was a group of lesbians doing a variety show. My husband felt uncomfortable and left early. I stayed. After he left, the people there said terrible things about my husband because he left. The main person told me to tell him that the D word used to insult lesbians said he is a female sexual organ. She saw the look on my face and told me that I have permission to use that word. She misread my facial expression. I was shocked. Yeah, that's the point, Gene. She thought that because she is a victim, that she can now be mean or cruel. She thought it was okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. And people don't have to like it. You paid for the tickets. You watched the show. They should be happy somebody watched the show. Again, if they want to, they can say that. I'm not saying they can't, but they do. And it's only harmful. Yes. Yes. It's the alphabeters. That's who they are. It's true. They are. They got all the numbers and all the letters, all of them. Yes. Ray says, when a man born with a Y chromosome beat up all the women and won the gold. Oh, that's what you meant. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Oh, women's boxing. Okay. Thank you, Ray. I apologize. I didn't get it now. Okay. Right. Yes. Yes. Thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah. Look, the two things that hit home when it came to the trans piece, which went too far. One is the one that Mike brought up, which is the kids. You can't mess with the mama bears. It's just not. It's not. You're not going to win. That's a bridge too far. And the trans community should have recognized that and said, we can't go here. And the second thing is what you're saying, Ray, is putting trans women into women's sports. It's not a right. It's the wrong hill to die on. And they chose to die on two hills, and it's because of hubris. It's because of hubris. Oh, we can't lose. We're the most powerful. We're the biggest victims of them all. You can't touch us. We can do whatever we want. No. Everybody can go too far. And they did. Not once, but twice. And this is the backlash. Ryan says, $5, thank you. Larry, conservatives are still railing against Bud Light, even though they did a 180 from that ad from 3 years ago. I know, right? I know. And I got to tell you, if I'm a conservative, I'd say the same thing. You can stop now. Like, you've won. It's fine. Bud Light learned its lesson. You can stop punching now. Like, at one point, you can stop punching. The horse is dead. You can stop beating it. Again, at one point, when you start becoming, people should learn to be more magnanimous in victory. And the example I'll give is the most common one you can think of. World War I versus World War II. In World War I, we were horrible to Germany in World War I. And that got us the rise of that special party from the Austrian who came over to over Germany. That's the reason why, because of how harsh we were in World War I. We weren't so harsh in World War II. They're now our ally. Once you've won, you can stop punching. But how do I get paid if I don't keep punching? This is all about the cash. So, yeah, absolutely. Kim says, oh, but Larry, remember that woman that did 100 guys in a few hours? Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, and again, she was straight. I think she still is straight, right? That I know of, at least, that she is. And that's one of her fetishes, I guess. And we judge her. She put that out online. She put that. Now, if she wanted to, she had an option. She wanted to, but she would have to do it because it's not about that. If she actually just had a fetish and she's just like, I just can't wait to be with the 100 guys, And she just got 100 guys in private and did it and walked away. Nobody would care. But the 100 guys, some of the guys might say something, I guess, and no one will believe them. And somebody comes out, yeah, just some girl, 100 guys. They'd be like, whatever. You got a video? No, I'm talking trash. They wouldn't even believe it. But she wants to get paid because she's got to go out and put it on her OF. I can't say the words because I'll get trashed here. So she does an OF, right? She wants to get paid. Well, you're going to get judged. I'm not mad at it. You're going to get judged. That's how it works. So you get judged. So yes. Lunatic, thank you for saying this. June is also, by the way, Men's Mental Health Month. That is true. And who's saying that? Almost no one. Almost no one. Yes, absolutely. So not great. Josh says, my family likes to go to pride celebrations in Yellow Springs, Ohio. Just hoping Dave Chappelle will randomly show up one time to piss half the people off. That would be amazing. I agree. That would be amazing if you did that. So yeah, I look, if people enjoy pride, you should enjoy pride. I have no problem enjoying pride. Enjoy it. I haven't been to one in a while though. Probably about 2 years, maybe. Yeah. So I'm not, yeah, maybe it's been a couple years since I've been to one. I should probably go back again. So yeah. Robert says, I was in the Army. Trust me, scolding to the ears of a soldier or veteran is just background noise. Sometimes amusing even. True. I agree. Yes, it is. Just whatever. Absolutely. Josh goes on to say, it's up to us Gen Xers to save the world from stupid, distracting culture war BS. God, I hope so. I'm trying, brother. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm trying to. It is just so damn hard to do. It is very hard. It is very hard. Yeah. So I'm trying to grab some more of these. I've fallen behind with so many of these. I'm trying to catch up to the best of my ability. So Joel says, both parties play the same games and both parties are full of grifters. Yep. Reelect no one and create politicians. Yes, absolutely. Paula says, the identity I refuse to let go of is that Gary Johnson should have been POTUS. True. True, Paula. Yes. You and Laura should have been a ticket. True. Also, you are, Paula, getting all the right answers. And I wish I could parachute someone named Dr. Paul into the White House. Yes. So we could just all have a better chance of being left alone. You win tonight, Paula. True, true, and true. Yes, yes, and yes. Literally what I want. Yes. That would be amazing. Yes, that'd be awesome. So I do appreciate that. Let me grab a couple more of these if I can. You guys are going back with a lot, so I appreciate that. So Dave says, those people exist in Oklahoma. Yes, you're right. It's true, Dave. I know the stories. I've seen them. They exist. So why don't we worry about those people and not like Trump? Trump, when it comes to that. The other reason to worry about Trump, but gay is not one of them. So yes. Grand Rapids says, how can you push them in the closet when they're too busy pushing each other into the cabinetry? You know, on the cabinetry. Oh, that's okay. Yes. Well, if they want to go in a closet or other piece of furniture on their own, to each their own. Yes. To each their own. There we go. Phil says, as a Christian, I don't believe that marriage is defined by the state. Maybe we should take it out of the domain of the state. I'm not going to fight you on that. I am not going to fight you on that. Ryan says, my issue with this Pride Month stuff is not at all from the LGBTQ plus community. It's from the government agencies, corporations, sports teams, shoving it down our throats. True. That is a bigger problem. I agree. That is definitely a bigger problem. Because, again, if government's doing it, we can't get away from it, right? Robert says, Democrats use cultural issues as a smokescreen while being only moderately better than Republicans on other issues. But now that they have a left that requires more, they don't know what to do. Well, there's another issue now. You're also finding that Republicans now are falling back to cultural issues when they don't have successes. And it's working. You know, Trump uses a lot of culture war stuff, the woke stuff, whatever. So when anything goes wrong, they go, well, woke. You see all the time. Oh, well, what if this? Well, woke. And sadly, because Democrats have taken the bait for so long, they still take it. They still take it. Yes. So P says, at Larry, I thought today was Dr. Mike because that's the it is. This popped up. I had that one on my radar. I had both of them on radar. Dr. Mike is probably not tomorrow. Tomorrow won't be a show. Probably Thursday or Friday is Dr. Mike. So P sent me a thing I got to talk about Dr. Mike. I'll be doing that. Probably Thursday or Friday. I'll be doing Dr. Mike. So yes, I will be peace. I'm still doing that one. I got so many of people throwing me things, but yes, I do like that. Yes. All righty. Let me grab a couple more of these if I can. All right. I want to grab some more of these. There's so many of these. Grand Rapids says they want everyone to be Obama gay so they can implement communism and New World Order. Obama gay. I'm not. Oh, gay for Obama? Maybe. I'm not. I don't know. Is that what? I don't know. I don't think that one was for me. I don't think that one was for me. So, yeah. Anyway, let me keep going down these roads if I can. So many of these. Joel says, I really don't understand adding phobic to everything. Not agreeing or liking a thing is not an irrational fear. Because that's the scolding piece, right? That's how that works, Joel. If you don't like something, they call you phobic, which makes you weak and bad, right? Why are you scared? This is what you'll hear all the time, particularly from the trans community, but from the gay community also, you hear this. They don't want you to exist. That's not a thing. That's not true. Now, don't get me wrong. Are there some people, to that point, you asked some people in Oklahoma, there are some people who think that, but that is a very small percentage. The vast majority of people are like, Matt, just stop shoving it in my face every 5 seconds. That's the issue. But they don't care if you exist. Exist. Enjoy yourself. Do you? Most people think that. Most people do. So how do I get around that? Well, I'm just going to call you a name. I'm going to shame you into compliance. Now, why would they do that? Because it used to work. That used to work. Everyone was afraid. Bill Burr used to do a whole skit on it, like being worried that if I said the wrong thing, I've got to pull a podium out so I can do my apology. Right? He's do that for a while. He stopped, which is great. But he used to do that. Now he stopped because even he doesn't do it anymore. But yeah, it doesn't work anymore either. It doesn't work anymore. So, all righty. Let me see if I can grab down here a couple more of these. All righty. Michael, he's commenting. I put up my Rainbow Nixon Facebook profile pic and my D pic for Pride Month. Been using it for years. Got it. I get it. That's cute because his name is Richard. True. Paula says Pride is as it's being celebrated currently is just feeding into the culture war. Yeah, because they're trying to push it. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Mastermind Hour says, I'm down with the LGB, but you start to lose me the further down the alphabet we go. Yeah, and now you keep going down the alphabet. I'm like, okay, at what point can we, what's going on here? How many letters we got, right? How many we got? So Robert says, I think the left dropped the ball on a sports issue. Sports is a legitimate way out of poverty for some people, seeing as it provides access to scholarships and opportunities to live on their talent. True. That was a dumb move. They should have left that alone. Absolutely true. You're right. That they should have left that alone. Absolutely. Yep. Kinsley says Gen Z and Alpha are confused, but I don't blame them. They are. I see it. Gen Alpha is the most lost. They're in trouble. They're in trouble. And I'm worried on what they're going to do. Right? I'm worried what they're going to do. I am. Rick says LP somehow became less pro-gay midway through last year. I'm telling you, it was the concept of feeling like it was being forced and going into feeling like it's children and that rights were now being created. That was the issue. It wasn't the gay thing, to be forward, Rick. It wasn't. It was the trans piece. I'm just being very forward. And some of you who are trans may be upset when I say it, but I'm telling you what really happened. It wasn't the gay piece. And that was one of the issues. The gay wars across most of America was won a long time ago. Not all areas, but most of America won a long time ago. Now it's the trans wars. And that was a bridge too far for so many people. We just took the gays, that made the trans people in. A lot of people didn't like it. They didn't like it. They were upset. And again, I'm not taking a stance on this. I'm just saying what happened. Right? I'm telling you what happened. That was the issue. So, yeah. I hope that makes sense. So, all righty. Danny says, how was that possible? Not woke enough? What would it even look like? I don't even want to tell you what that would look like. But again, part of it is things like, can I have, what was the one thing that everyone got mad about? What was it? Hold on. Drag Queen Story Hour. Remember that one? That was the thing everybody got mad about. You would have that I guess every morning, I guess, would be the thing. Maybe that. And there, look, I know people here in New York and some other places, but I know New York, who actively, happily take their children to that. They think that's exactly the right answer, and they love doing so. It is my opinion. That's not a great place to take your kids. But they're not my kids. If someone cares and wants my opinion, I will tell them my opinion. But it's your kids. And if you think that's the place to go, take them. Take them. That's all I'm saying. So, anyways, that's what it would look like. That's it. That's what it would look like. All righty. I'm going to grab some of this if I can. All right. Michael, you trying to piss me off? For those who don't know, the Guardians are playing the Yankees tonight. You trying to get me going? My Yankees are playing Okay. Continuing says, what the flip is a spicy straight? Well, it's someone who decides that they don't, that decides they're non-binary or queer or whatever that thing is. That's what they are. They're spicy. They're spicy. There we go. Michael says, where do you find these spicy straights? They're all over New York. See them everywhere. Yes. Yes, that's good. Joel says, the movie Stripes. Are you gay? No, but willing to learn. Will they send us to some special place? I like that. Someplace special. You could learn. Let's do it. There we go. Yes. Kim says, let's normalize PDF files. Is that coming next? Stop it. I agree. I'm with you, Kim. You hear me. I don't like this normalized stuff. It's not my thing. Yes. And I'll say it again. It's maybe the 10th time, but I cannot say it enough. Not enough. Consenting and adults. I can't say it enough. Was that 10 times? I'll say it 11. Doesn't matter. I'm with you, Kim. Those two things are critical. Those two things are critical. So I'm saying. Kintsugi says, I'm bland. I'm a bland straight. I know I'm not spicy at all. I'm with you, Kintsugi. I'm bland too. We're both bland. I'm not spicy. That's it. I'm not spicy at all. Yes. I'm with you. Mike's on your side, Kim. Absolutely not. Kim, never. We're on the same side. Yes. Ryan says, Larry, both you and Brad are dead wrong on baseball. St. Louis Cardinals are the only team that matters. Okay, let's be very clear how this works. All right. 27 championships. That's Yankees. Cardinals, how many? You're going to go and Google that, aren't you? You're going to Google that. Red Sox, how many? They better Google that. 2, maybe 3? Maybe. Just saying. So here's how the rules work. If there is a World Series, and if in the playoffs, the Yankees were not in the playoffs, that is by default an invalid World Series. That's how that works. Invalid. If the Yankees were in the playoffs, it's then valid. If the Yankees are in the World Series and they lose, someone cheated. If they're in the World Series and they win, it is a valid and good World Series. That's how that works. Just so you're clear on how the world works. That's how that goes. So yes. Okay. Just so we're clear. Now we got that down. So yes. All righty. Let's see if I can do here. Some of you got that piece. Yeah. Well, you all got that boxing. I was the one who was lost. All of you were like, oh, the boxer from France. Everyone you got. Wow. You know what? I'm sorry, dude. Ray, I was way off on that. Like everyone got it but me. Whoops. I get see that this was my earliest point I made early on in the show. I was saying how this is not my world. I don't really work in it that much because in New York City, it's not a thing anymore. Like it's done. I don't even think about it much. So obviously that didn't connect for me because I wasn't thinking about that, right? That's not where my head is usually. So that wasn't even where my head went at all. And I can see already, there's like 17 people saying, Larry, it's this, it's that, it's this. Yeah. Yeah, I really didn't get it. I feel bad because I can see like 14 people saying, it's this thing, it's this thing, it's this thing. Yeah, that's funny. Yep. Here we go. All right. John says adoption should be cheaper and easier. True. Adoption agencies have actually been against conservatives lately because they might not agree with that child transitioning. That's an issue too. That's a worry, of course. But yeah, it should be easier. I'm adopted. So people don't know that I'm adopted. So I'm Of course I'm for adopt. Yes, absolutely. Patty says, a mother and her single adult daughter up here adopted 2 kids. They knew whose family died in a house fire. How? I'm not sure, but they ended up adopting them. Hold on. A mother and her single adult daughter up here adopted 2 kids. Oh, they knew whose family had a house fire. How? I'm not sure they adopted. Well, what they might have done is they might have had the mom adopt them. And then the daughter becomes legally the sister. They might have done that. So I'm okay with that, right? Whatever that is, right? As long as a child or children are growing up with loving parents, I'm okay. Yeah, I really am okay. Yes. I want more kids to have positive role model adults. So yeah. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can get a couple more of these. All righty. Mashwan says they're gonna keep going until they normalize eating babies. Sadly, you're probably correct. You're probably correct. You're probably correct. Yeah, and I don't like that. I'm with you. Yes. So, any case, okay. Danny says, like being of the T, losing the support of the LGB puts the T on an island. True. Look, I do not want in any way to push the trans community away. That's not what I'm trying to achieve at all. Not trying to at all. The issue is, and look, Danny, you and I know this. The average trans person doesn't care about kids in any way, shape, or form except maybe having them one day. That's it. The average trans person just wants to live their life in a way that they feel comfortable. In a way, and I bring this up often because one of my friends who is trans, Sarah Higdon, she's been on the show more than once. She once said on Twitter that she takes her body dysmorphia as a mental disorder. That's how she takes it, as one. And she said she wouldn't dress the way she dresses or present the way she presents if she didn't have to. She feels that's the way she can do it. Her words were, if I could take a pill and feel comfortable in her male body, she would take the pill. She just wants to feel comfortable in her own body, and she can't, so she presents as a woman. Now, she doesn't say she's a woman. She says she's a trans woman. She knows that she's a biological male. She says so, biological male, but she presents as a woman because it's what makes her feel comfortable. And she said if she could take a pill to where she could feel comfortable in her male body, she would do so. And she got banned from social media for saying that. That is a bridge too far. Why? It's not me, some guy outside telling trans people what they should or shouldn't do. This is a trans person saying this is her lived experience. It's how she feels. And that she recognizes that it's a problem, and that if she could fix her problem by not presenting as a woman, but instead taking a pill, she would do so. She said that. Now, maybe others wouldn't. Maybe others don't want to take it that way. Right? Maybe others don't want to take it that way, and they don't want to take it as a mental illness, so they wouldn't take the pill. Maybe they wouldn't. But how does that make her wrong? My camera go again. Hold on. There we go. My camera on again. So yeah, how does that make her wrong? It doesn't. So I don't want to push aside people who are trans at all. If you start going towards the issues of children and then sports, people are there's gonna be a backlash. So I think you're right in this. Then he goes on to say, I understand that bad actors of the T went too far, but innocent T's getting caught in the crossfire, so to speak. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I would argue that a lot of people who were there, who are doing this, are doing it to grift. They don't actually care about the community. They're grifting, and the actual community is suffering for that. I agree. I think they are. I think they're suffering for it. So, yeah. Daniel says, loving and capable parents of children who need them. Orientation shouldn't disqualify. Should disqualify no one from adoption. I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think that's correct. Yeah, I think most people are going there, but there is some issue. So yeah. So any case, guys, I know I haven't said this much this show because I've been talking back and forth, showing you some more stuff. Long show tonight, by the way. But please, if you haven't already shared this someplace or reposted it, please do so. Every time you do it, more people see it. It's more important. Yes, please do so if you would. It is very important. Click the button known as Like Lima India Kilo Echo. Please click that button. If you haven't, please do so. If you haven't followed me on also Facebook, X, and Rumble, please do that. I'm trying to get more followers so more people will see it. It is great. Please do so. Speaking of Rumble, Americua says, when Larry talks Yankees, he sounds like my dad, born in Sugar City, Idaho. This is the right kind of tribalism. It is tribalism. You're not wrong. It is tribalism. And it's the best type. You're right. So, guys, please follow me if you would, even on Rumble if you can. It's great. For those of you who become members, thank you so much. Membership is important. I appreciate it. But don't forget this one thing now. The algorithm loves, Mr. Rhythm loves when after the show, you comment afterwards. So once this is done, no longer live, please come back and comment if you would. It does matter. I'm going to ask you to comment on what do you think about this year's Pride Month? What do you think about it? Is it good idea, bad idea? Should it be more, less? What do you think about this month's Pride Month? Or do you care at all? If you don't care, say, I don't really care about it at all. It doesn't matter to me. Or yeah, I do, and I'm glad what's happening. Whatever you think about Pride Month, please let me know. Remember, if this is not live and you're watching it later on, a day or two later, you can please check out. The 2 videos will pop up. Please watch one of them for these 8 minutes. Rhythm loves that too. No show tomorrow. I have family issues I'm dealing with tomorrow. Thursday, I'll be back on. I will see you all very soon.